All right, love on this channel. So I already had this discussion um, with Fahrenheit, who may or may not join us later on. But back then, his Fahrenheit's username used to be Thought Agent. So so that's what I called him in that one. I don't think we really even bothered to discuss uh, to try to retell the story um because so it's a movie, but it's 4 hours long. uh the original cut supposedly was 6 hours long. There's a TV series out there which is basically the movie, but with around around half an hour of extra footage. um I was able to find a torrent on for the TV series, but nobody's seeding it. And also, even if I even if I if if somebody seeded it, I doubt that it has got subtitles, because I don't think it ever got released in the West as well. But at least at the moment, um, you can watch Love is Porsche on YouTube if you're okay with having having English, because yeah, basically the version on YouTube has got Spanish subtitles hard coded into it. So you're basically be reading um, the English titles on top of the Spanish ones. If you're okay with that, then do that. Otherwise, just download a torrent.
Sounds messy with like the
Yeah,
subtitles practically
I
for your.
I think I also found a version with Italian subtitles. Uh, yeah. So I guess it got released in Italy as well.
Could be. I
Could be.
mean, a
Yeah.
lot of international movies are released in Italy as well. So
Right.
that's not so.
Yeah. I mean, on the TV series point, I mean, within the story, within the movie itself, like you have the point of view changing several times,
Yeah.
and also
At,
like
at least at one point, like towards the hour and a half mark, there are a couple of changes of perspective, and then it goes back mostly to the main protagonist's point of view.
yeah. Most of it is from the main protagonist use point of view.
Hmm.
But basically within the story itself, it's already kind of divided
Oh yeah.
into different sections. Okay, so yeah, last time when I tried to bait some people to try and check out this film by calling it calling it a Christian film with panty shots, but
Yeah, they plays kind of loose with the Christianity. Uh, it's more like an excuse for the plot to go on at one point
right, like
than anything else.
you're correct. I mean, in that interview, there's a fuck you interview on YouTube. It's a pretty short one, which is divided into three parts, around half an hour or so. Um, like he's asked about Christianity, and like what his views on it, and he said I don't know, he kind of made um I don't know, like kind of a stereotypical liberal response to it, which was something like, "Well, I'm a fan of Christ, just not Christianity." If
The usual.
yeah, I think he said something like, "If Christianity was a fan club for Christ, then I would join it," or something. Apparently, um, he did have some experience being in some kind of cult when he was 17, so maybe he used some of that here.
Yeah, could be that because there is a cult in the movie, the Zero Church, but even his understanding of, let's say, more mainstream Christianity seems very limited, bare bone.
Right. Speaking of understanding, apparently he got help for this movie by a professional voyeur, or how you say that word. Basically,
Yeah,
yeah, somebody like who actually does does the things which the protagonist.
hmm.
Probably
He did his research.
yeah, probably with less with less martial arts, I imagine, of of fake martial arts from Hong Kong movies or whatever it is that
Hmm.
you does. And apparently they got arrested. I don't know how much any of it is true, but yeah,
Wouldn't be too surprised, honest.
yeah. Okay. So how would you score the movie out of 10?
I don't know. It's difficult to evaluate this movie because there are certain things that I find interesting, others that I find could have been interesting, and others that I find appalling, repulsive, and frankly, uh, I felt disgusted on more than one point.
Right, right. One of the things you mentioned, I think, in the server's chat was was the erections because the protagonist basically um
Yeah, it's very weird how they. I don't know if it's it's if it's the author that is confused. Or it was just making fun of how Christians understand sexuality. But the idea is this: the main protagonist, when he's a child, is asked by his very devoted Christian Catholic mother to find her own Maria, her own Virgin Mary to marry, and to introduce it to her. Then she dies. The protagonist's father becomes a priest, and then from there on, he's still on the lookout for this woman. However, he says the only way that I can truly know if I'm in love with this woman if I get an erection, which I find rather stupid. Can I be honest? I found it very stupid because sometimes your body reacts just because of instinct, and I'm not saying it's a good thing. That would be lust. That would be something that we need to avoid as Christians. However, it takes that as the measurement for when I really find this perfect woman that would be my perfect Christian bride. It's like I don't think it works that way, dude.
right.
I don't think.
And another kind of odd thing like that, which that doesn't make any sense, is like when they're talk when the villain Aya or whatever talks about original sin, as if like you get your own personal original sin or whatever, like
Yeah.
Aya first meets you,
Mhm.
she's like, well, you have original sin like I do, or something.
Yeah, that I can smell it. That one is kind of weird because I understand maybe what they were trying to go for. We are The thing is, in a sense, original sin marks us in different ways. That's true. Some people have different inclinations. Some people may be more inclined to sins of the flesh. Maybe they are more lustful than anything else. Others are maybe more prideful. Others they are covetous. They are greedy, etc. So in a sense, they got close to understanding how original sin works. We are all marked, and since we are unique persons, we all are marked in a different way. but then they make it sound like something like special. Only certain people have it.
It's like a superpower. Uh,
Yeah, it's this very. It's something that I see in many like when Japanese media try to analyze Christianity, they got this very confused idea because it's something that it's in a way it's ingrained in their culture. They had contact with Christianity for now around 6 centuries, and yet at the same time it's something so niche in their culture that they are very, very confused.
mm, right. So, did Miss Scorpion pass as a woman? Uh,
Honestly, when I first saw him dressed like this, I was like, this could be either a ugly goth chick or a former member of a gothic band from the 80s in the UK. So,
mhm. Yeah, the voice obviously was, y- yeah, totally. Like I
yeah.
like the movie doesn't even try to be real, I guess.
To be honest, I kind of like that because it was so surreal.
Um,
It reminded me a little bit, even if it's not as good in that regard, of Mrs. Doubtfire.
I see.
Did you see that movie? When he started to speak in that fake woman voice, it was like it could be a bit better. It was kind of funny, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Um, okay. I guess one of the major complaints, I guess the thing which everybody seems to talk about when reviewing this film is the length. Um,
That one I can understand why. Especially, I do believe the real issue is not the length itself; it's the pacing. The pacing is all over the place. The beginning it's very compressed. Seems more like the recap of like in the past 10 episodes of Love of Exposure because you got a lot of things going on. Then it slows down. Then it picks up, becomes super fast again. Slows down, picks up again, slows down. There is this sense of temporal whiplash, which I'm not a big fan of. It can work in some works, but you need to be a very skilled editor and you need to give some temporal signifiers, so to say, that make you understand how time is passing, if it's slow down or fast forward in a sense. And in that regard, the movie did a very poor job because at the beginning starts with him as a child and immediately jumps forward with the father becoming a priest, which honestly that could have been a movie in itself pretty much. It would have been a quite interesting movie
mm,
because it's possible for a widower to become a priest. It's actually the important thing is that he has no wife. So if someone was married and then he becomes a widower, he can technically become a priest, even if he has children, as long as they are old enough that they can live on their own in a sense.
mm. So, one of yeah, yeah, I wanted to ask you that actually, but I guess yeah, the answer is yes. I wanted to ask you
Hmm.
whether the movie had gotten that wrong as well.
That
Oh,
is correct. No, no, that's correct technically. Even the part later when it's like he wants to renounce his vows and get married. Well, in the past, one of my professors, well, he was a priest in the past. Then he fell in love with someone. He asked permission to the bishop. He was removed as a priest. He renounced his priesthood, and then he got married. He did it legally in a sense. And my father as well knew a guy who was the son of a former priest. So, but the thing is, they did it the correct way. They realized I've got an issue. I cannot be a priest because I'm in love with this person. They they got the permission from the bishop, and then they got married. The movie also, I think, this could be an interesting plot point, but it's not used much. It's mostly used for drama at the beginning and drama towards the end, towards the middle, and then at the end it's resolved like, now they are living together and they are happy. End of story. I'm like, okay, that was anticlimactic to say the least.
Yeah, yeah. I heard some other people complain about. I mean, or rather, not exactly complain about it, but if you saw that that video which I shared, where like um, there's this guy, this review, and he was wondering whether like everything was like a plot by by the Zero Church or something, and them like and then meeting at the end, whether that was fake as well, or whatever. I think
No, I think at the end they really are able to be together. The problem is we don't know if he received the permission from the bishop or the Vatican to
oh,
get married.
I see, I see. I thought you were talking about you and Yoko, not the
No,
priest.
technically, Yu and Yoko seems like they end up together because he remembers who he is and he's able to catch up to her. So, in a sense, there is a hope that they'll be able to be together.
Right, right. Yeah, it's like yeah, there's not that much closure, as you said, to the arc between the priest and
Hmm.
yeah, that
And
woman.
his lover.
Yeah, yeah. They just end up in some kind of
Yeah,
a rehabilitation center for people.
doing Tai Chi and stuff.
Yeah, for people who are in the um, in the
Zero
cult,
Church,
Zero
yeah.
Church. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um. All right. What else? And so another thing we got into um last time when I and Fahrenheit were talking about it, was
Mhm.
what what genre this is. Is it whether it's a art house film or just a B movie, a romantic comedy or more of a drama, just
Seems like a
rule of cool.
mixture of different elements.
Mm-hmm.
Because even then, there is a tonal whiplash in certain scenes. And this is what I find really frustrating with this movie. They don't blend well the comedy with the drama, with the romantic side, with the more um, sort of philosophical and moral questions about what love and religion and the meaning of all of these things are. Again, if it this movie should be made into a TV series, but a proper one. Give it like 10 episodes, each episode is around 1 hour. Explain things a bit more, analyze the characters a bit more, because we get too much in certain scenes and too little in others. Certain things are rushed through, others are dilated so much that they become unbearable.
Hmm. The movie was apparently shot in a month or two. I guess it shows.
Yeah, even the quality of some of the shots is very like some of them look very professional. Even the quality of the filmography, the framing, and everything seems more professional. Others do look rather sloppy and more like, well, a cheap porn, which
Yeah,
at times
I
you feel like you're.
yeah I think um that from what I'm aware of the director, he usually doesn't do romantic comedies. Um, which is why even though it's a romantic comedy, you have bad things happening to people. I think what he's more into. I've seen one other film by him, the one that got him popular, and which I think is more representative of his work, called Suicide Club, which is
Hmm.
sort of you know, those Japanese violent exploitation films
Mm-hmm.
with blood everywhere, um,
Mm-hmm.
that sort of thing, so edgy, you know. Um,
Yeah.
th- th-
Tokyo Gore Police, Machine Gun Girl, Robo Geisha. These kind of trashy, super violent
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of movies.
You basically have that going along with a romantic comedy that which might not work for some people, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Um. So, um, what did you think about the acting? Like, one of the things which I heard is that they kind of felt like they were trying to act like anime characters or something.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And I found it kinda charming in a weird way. I wouldn't say it was bad, it was just very strange and almost appealing. Almost.
um, yeah, yeah, I guess Fahrenheit is in tears. If he was, we could ask him. One of the things which Fahrenheit said last time was that it kind of reminded him of his childhood, which I found kind of funny. But what he meant, I think, was that it has sort of an early 2000s kind of feel.
Yes, that's true, I agree. It feels more like something from that edgy um, kind of. I think the 2000s were the last time where being edgy was sort of cool. So it has the same vibe of, oh, let's go completely over the top. People will like it because we are edgy. And
Yeah.
to a degree, I understand that. There is a charm in being so unapologetically exaggerated, and yet at the same time, I wish it was more campy, more edgy. It's like it's almost falling short compared to other works.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess it's trying to do a lot of things at once.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. If it had focused a bit more on something and stuck to it and made sure to expand more on that, I think it would have felt more interesting, more focused. Whereas right now it seems to be doing a little bit of everything. Again, it's trying to play with some of the tropes of the romantic comedy, it's trying to play with some of the tropes of the Japanese extreme underground grindhouse kind of movies. Plays a little bit with the drug, with this kind of the perversion side, with the religious side of things. The questions asked in the movie are quite interesting, and yet it seems that by the end of the movie, none of them receive an answer. Like, the only difference is a few characters die, the Zero Cult is sort of destroyed, but the main character, yeah, the main character finds his love, but everything else doesn't seem to receive an answer. Did he believe? Was he really looking for that kind of woman? Was his perversion just an attempt? Which it's an interesting question. I'm not a stranger to this kind of question. Sometimes we want to hurt ourselves to, in a sense, you get to the bottom of the of this slimy pit. This way, you can look up and hope to see the light and someone offering you a hand. I felt that was some parts of this movie felt like this. Like, this character is doing all of this to try and reconnect with his father and try and find the right woman. He's doing something wrong, but that's the essence of wrong. You do something in an attempt to find good, to find something that is good, but you're doing it the wrong way. Therefore, it becomes something wrong. It becomes sin. The search for pleasure is not wrong. It's how you get pleasure that it's wrong, and what's the goal, if it's the only goal in a sense. This movie literally is all over the place, and that's why I find it so. I came out of it finding it frustrating, irritating, and uh, wanting more. He has potential. There are good, interesting characters. I really like the scenes when, at one point, it's kind of weird. So the lover of the father, who is now a priest, um, pretty much takes away a girl that has an abusive father, takes this girl, Yoko, with her, and they move with Yu's father, the priest. So the two of them sort of become brother and sister, even if they are not blood related. And at the same time, he realizes that she's the girl he fell in love with and that he protected when he was in drugs. And that she fell in love sort of with this woman I'd see him in drugs, goes by the name Miss Scorpion. It the plot is kind of interesting. It's like sort of it could have been a mixture of drama and comedy that could have worked because there is all these extremes. On one side, a Catholic priest who's falling in love for a woman. This woman who pretty much adopted and took away this child, this girl, from an abusive father. This guy, Yu, was in love with this girl, Yoko, and then they end up becoming pretty much brother and sister because the biological father and the adoptive mother, pretty much, they want to get together. But it's so squandered with
Yeah,
the
they
with the
just
subplot with the subplot of the Zero Church becoming later the main plot. Don't know.
I didn't really see the zero church thing coming. Really.
Mm.
Um, I
Which is sort of fine because there is this other character. So there is this Koike girl that's like completely insane, um, and she wants to prove that she can break completely this guy as a form of revenge. I'm not entirely sure why she wants to break you. I think it has to do with her hatred for her father, which was a Christian, and who beat her and killed her pet bird.
yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of phallic symbolism with this pet bird, etc. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not just yeah. Um, yeah. So okay, yeah, I think her motives as a villain, Koike's motives were unclear. That's also one of the things we talked about last
yeah.
time. I, what like it didn't really make like I at one point like if this was just a romantic comedy
Mm-hmm.
love triangle between her between Koike, Yu, and
Yoko.
Yoko. Uh, I mean, she's not, but
Yoko being the adoptive daughter of Kaori being the woman who tries to seduce Tetsu being Yu's father, who's the priest. The
he,
story becomes so convoluted. It's both too simple and too convoluted at the same time. I don't know how they were able to do that.
I mean, a lot of it I think is basically tropes from for, like for example, the love triangle thing,
Yeah,
the
it's a
fake
classic
incest.
for a reason.
Yeah, and the fake incest thing.
Yeah, that again is something that it's very common. From what I understand, it's a very common fantasy. And I'm talking not just Japan, it's something that I heard many, many times.
Yeah. What else? Um. Okay. So, I mean, it has uh, uh, like katanas and like it's yeah. Okay. What did you so another thing which did not make much sense was um you know when the protagonist tries to convince when you tries to convince Yoko to leave the cult, and
Hmm.
they're stuck on a beach in an abandoned bus for I don't know for how long.
Yeah, like probably something like 1 week. I kind of like that scene because for once it was slow paced and kind of artistic in a good way.
Yeah, and then Yoko tries to run away,
Mm.
and you stops uh,
And they
and
are reading the passage from First Corinthians, which is one of my favorite passages when St. Paul talks about what real love. In Latin, the word is caritas, which is also why you have the word charity, which is not just the physical love, it's the all encompassing love. It's the love towards mercy, who cares. And it's what St. Paul says. If I have, it starts to list a lot of things. If I have this, if I have that, if I give up this, if I give up that, but I have no love, I'm nothing. Which is a beauty. It's one of my favorite passage. I used to use it as a prayer. I still sometimes read it as a prayer because it's really touching. It's really beautiful. And I kind of understand what they are trying to do there. It's like she's accusing him of being a pervert because it's being exposed as someone who was taking pictures of girls' underwear. So she sees him as the scum of the earth, unable to love, and just a pervert who lusts after women. Therefore, she hates him. That part made sense, and she tries to make him understand what real love is. In a sense, when he reads the passage, it's like him saying, I already understand what you mean. And I found it that was one of the best parts of the movie because it was a little bit less noisy and a bit more subtle when it came to the message. Like they are starting to connect, and they are starting to connect with something that they both understand, which is the Bible, since he is the son, is he was born in a Catholic family and is the son of what is now a priest, despite all his flaws. And she is someone who sort of is interested and curious about religion, but she doesn't understand. And then she was approached and kidnapped pretty much by this cult.
yeah, it's just that like it seemed to be building up to
Hmm.
actually you saying something to Yoko to convince her, but what happens is the other way around, and it's Yoko who talks to who speaks
Hmm.
to you instead. Um,
Oh, I find it kind of interesting. Honestly, those scenes were the most refreshing, the most, um, I'd say, the most curated ones in the movie because there was both the artistic flair and a little bit of introspection. It wasn't too over the top, and there were questions who were almost answered.
right. Yeah. Um, what did you say in response? I can't even remember now. But
She sort of accuses him again of being just a pervert, but then she sort of starts to see that there is something more about you than she actually thought. And then when she's asking to, can we go outside? I want to see the sea.
Mm.
And that scene was kind of funny with the two of them walking and him leading, pretty much leading her on a lash, on a leash, like she's like tied up with her hands tied and a rope around her body. It's like she's leading, and he's just behind her, holding the rope, making sure she cannot escape. So it's like there you are, modern modern relationships summed up from 3 or 4 perspectives in one scene. And like, which I find kind of, it was both funny and charming in a sense, with these two persons starting to open up a little bit towards one another, but with still this lack of true trust. And that's why he still has her tied up. I found it was the right balance of silly and charming.
Right. So Fahrenheit's old score for this film, and I wanted to ask him whether it has changed or not, and I might do that if he shows up.
Hmm.
So his old score was a 7 out of 10. The reasons for the score was that um, I think he said something like that that there was sort of um, an unreal feeling, like you didn't believe the film too, like he didn't believe the film too
Yeah,
much.
that's sort of true. It feels like a fever dream, where certain things kind of make sense and others are completely insane, and yet they almost border on something that could happen. Almost.
Mm. So an
It's too over the top, but it's almost credible.
Another problem that he had was that he said that he was pretty sure that any girl in real life would just avoid the psycho um, who broke into the Zero Church and dismembered everyone. Uh,
Yeah, that last part felt like almost like an attempt to make a Tarantino movie, which is interesting because Tarantino took a lot of inspiration from Japanese over the top gore movies for some of his scenes in like Kill Bill. And I think, I don't want to say something stupid, but isn't one of these actresses? Yeah, there is that Japanese actress in Kill Bill Volume One. I think it's this one of the it's the same actress that plays the villain in this movie.
okay,
Am I wrong?
let me give it a quick check. So the villain was called Koike, right?
Yeah, because
So
she looks a lot like, she has that same crazed smirk, and the shape of her nose is very similar. So
mm,
I'm wondering if she is the same actress,
no, I don't
because I
see.
know
I don't see her here.
it's
Um,
fine. I could be wrong.
um,
Not
yeah.
to make the usual all Japanese
You
people look
look the
alike,
same.
but I'm sorry. As
Uh,
an Italian, sometimes I can get confused.
no, but also I think, especially when it comes to villains, they do tend to look. The villains, they all basically do tend to look the same, I guess. Let me
Mhm.
think about it. Uh, okay, what else is there to say about this film?
This movie is very difficult to talk about because it's both really simple and absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, I mean,
The story
yeah.
can be both very straightforward and incredibly complicated for no reason. Or maybe there is a reason, but I'm not sure what the reason is. I'm not even sure what the message of the movie is. Like, true love wins in the end, despite all the madness and cruelty of this world, because in a sense, you, the main protagonist, sacrificed himself to try and free the love of his life. But then at the same time, yeah, he was a pervert, but he wasn't a complete pervert. He did for a search for the perfect woman. It's just maybe I'm not understanding the metaphysics of the movie. Maybe the author has a very different point of view from mine, and therefore I cannot understand. Uh, I cannot pierce the movie and understand the meta narrative behind it.
I think we also had the same issue when Fahrenheit and I were talking about it last time, and I think the reason for that is because like the message of the movie is so simple that it like it's so and so common that
It could
like
be that it's a parody of the usual true love triumphs in the end,
yeah
because everyone goes
exactly.
through.
That's basically what the message of the movie, if there is a message, it's just
Yeah,
love overcomes all, or something like that. But at the same time, there's so much stuff,
yeah, exactly.
semi-ironic stuff, which is going on with that
Mhm.
you start to wonder, like, is like, i- uh, like, was it all unironic after all?
Yeah, it's
Um,
a unique movie, that's for sure. I cannot deny that this guy, Sion Sono, has a unique way when it comes to storytelling, characters, and wording the message through his images. Because this movie is all over the place. I really wish, again, if this was a TV series, give it 10 episodes, an hour each. Go slower at the beginning, explore the characters a bit more in depth. I don't know. If anything, it's a very frustrating movie because it has a lot to say, but it says it in a very confusing and confused way.
so there's a documentary, well, I'm quote unquote documentary. It's more like promotional material, I would say,
Mhm.
um, which called the making of Love Exposure, which is like basically a bunch of vlogs on set, um, by the director and the actors,
Mhm.
um, talking about what they think. The film is and whatnot. You can watch it. It's up on YouTube. Just search for the making of yeah
Yeah, I saw you posted it. I just had no time to watch it. Sorry.
yeah. I mean the interest I've seen so it's basic. Let's be honest. Yeah, like it's basically promotional material because uh the actors and the people making the movie, of course, are not going to say oh, this movie's trash, or whatnot. Or if they do say that, it's not going to be included in the
Mhm.
in the video. But still, at the start of the documentary, um, like there's a scene where it's not a scene, I guess, because it's real or supposedly, where the director is telling of the actress playing Yuko. In fact, I think a lot of the documentary um, for some reason spends a lot of time asking her questions about what she thinks.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I just found it a bit like the director Sono Sion was like, do it again. Um, you haven't got what it takes, or rather, you have to do it in a way that moves people. You're not doing it. Um, and
Hmm.
I kind of found it funny. And another thing which he said was that you might think that like you are like the character, but if you actually were that character, you wouldn't actually be acting. Um, the way that character is. Anyhow, the reason I found that a bit funny is because like in the movie, like the actress is playing Yuki is playing this character like who is like a free spirit who doesn't care about uh,
Yeah.
what anybody says, but on set the actress obviously is under the term of how should I say, not very cheerful director. Uh, yeah, yeah, and another thing. So just like in that interview, he still wears that hat. Um, uh, yeah, but he does take it off at the end. So in the interviews anyway, and so it's not there just to hide his boldness or something, which is
It's
what I what I thought it was about.
reminds me of the SpongeBob movie. Do you know? Do you know me why I'm wearing this crown? It's to cover your bald head. Have you seen the SpongeBob movie?
No,
That one, but
or maybe I have, and I can't remember.
we should review it one day. It's full of symbolism. I'm not joking.
Mm. So, I guess in terms of action, because as you said, this is kind of a mixture.
Yeah, when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be all action, like completely insane movie." It was really tame when it came to the action. There were a couple of fights, and there was that final act when it's like you see the main character gearing up. I kinda like the build up. He's like getting in touch with his former crew. He's getting in touch with the crazed, um, the crazed pervert who wants to blow up stuff. That one I find it kind of fun. And then actually it does very little.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the best piece of action you see is where the protagonist's mother, I can't remember quote unquote mother, runs his father off the road. Um, and then at the end she says,
Oh yeah,
I raped him beautifully," or something
yeah,
like that.
Kaori. She's completely insane. When he's like, she's demanding his love, and he's like trying to drive. He's literally driving insane because he gets into a car and she starts bumping her car into it until it drives him off the road and he almost drowns him.
Yeah,
Like
and
that was really funny. I must admit.
yeah, and the first time I watched it, like I didn't expect the man to like you know the priest to start
Yeah, laughing.
laughing and smiling and be
Yeah,
like, okay.
that was so weird. And at the same time kind of plausible. That's why it works so well. Like there's the kind of craziness that someone could really experience in real life.
Mm. On the other hand, in terms of action, I guess there's that bit where like the protagonist needs to learn ways to sin in order to
Oh yeah,
satisfy his father,
exactly.
and for that he goes to this guru kind of figure, teacher
Hmm.
figure, and and there's like a training montage,
Yeah,
which is so
that was so weird. I
w-
think the movie it's at its strongest when it's like in these surrealist like kind of moments when it's like goes completely bonkers because you don't know You are not prepared. Like you cannot expect what's going to happen next, and therefore you're like always wondering what's going to happen next. What's going to happen next?
Yeah,
But they are so brief. Even in such a weird movie, they last for so little.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So there's this VS training sequence, and then the sequence of him basically taking photographs while
Yeah,
breakdancing around girls.
and kung and I think like martial arts movements. Too.
And yeah, I do kind of like how like it doesn't like give a fuck about being realistic or anything, because one of the
Hmm.
things which kind of takes me out in romantic comedies sometimes is it's like it just does, because they're like trying to pretend like any of this is real in any
Yeah,
way.
it could work. Like this could happen in real life. This movie instead, like it's like it's anime. It's real life anime world. The craziest things can happen. Be prepared.
Yeah,
Something incredible or incredibly stupid could happen, and no one would really care.
right. And another thing which doesn't make any sense, but which I liked still, because by that point I wasn't expecting the movie to make any sense,
Hmm.
was when he said that the protagonist Yu is hired by a porn pornographic
Oh yeah,
company, and
Bukake Sha, which means Bukake Company,
and um,
Bukake Group, in a sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
and the thing which
the interview was really weird and
right,
it
right.
was surreal.
Was that the scene where he was talking about like an erection from his heart or something? Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was there.
that one is really weird. But again, it was the kind of weird that was disgusting and funny, so it kind of worked with the tone of the movie.
Right, right. And I think we should obviously none of that makes any sense. But what didn't make sense to me the most was that like he's basically hired to take illegal pictures
Yeah.
of women, which like uh, I don't know. Apparently, he becomes famous as the king of perverts
Hmm.
or something. Even though he doesn't want he doesn't and probably can't have any sex with any any other women other than his quote unquote Maria.
Yeah,
Uh,
then
yeah. Yeah. The whole thing there with Bukakesha didn't really make
yeah,
any
so
sense.
it was one of the best parts because it was so insane. It was like an acid trip. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting it, therefore it was quite entertaining in that regard.
Yeah, it's sort of like eh, like as you said, it's like a story arc compressed, essentially.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of this, um, I would describe this movie as like an accordion. There are certain parts where the story is like, an accordion. When you play it, you squeeze it and then you open it, squeeze it, open it. It's the same thing. Certain times, too many things happen too fast. Other times takes its sweet time, which is fine. But then there is this tonal and temporal whiplash, which I find the most frustrating thing is this. You can have the most extravagant, crazy, disrespectful story. I'm fine with that as long as the story progresses in a reasonable and logical way when you can frame the time and everything that happens in the story in the right way. There are very few pieces of media that I couldn't finish, and either it was because they were too abhorrent, to really finish them. For example, I haven't finished the 120 Days of Sodom by the Marquis de Sade because it's too revolting, honestly. And the only other movies or TV series I couldn't finish are those who drag too long and move too fast at the same time. And this is a problem with this movie.
So, speaking of this being an action film, I think Fahrenheit said that this film was also a lot more personal than a regular action film, like say, I don't know, Fast and Furious 7
Mhm.
or whatever else.
Yeah. Yeah, it was on a smaller scale compared to many action movies, and I think the best action movies are usually the ones with a smaller, more personal stake compared to, oh, we must save the universe from the big bad guy Mac Muscles or something like this. For example, the first Die Hard is such a memorable movie because it's just one guy against like 14 guys, if I remember right. And that's why it's so personal because whenever he kills one of them, he kills a sizable chunk of the enemy force, and it's working to his advantage. Even just one person, he can grab his weapon. That's why there is that memorable scene, like when he puts the guy on the on the wheel on the chair and pushes him into the lift or elevator for you Americans, and writes with a lipstick on his sweater, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho." That's such a memorable scene because it's like I'm getting into a position where I can take all of your guys out. It's like an open declaration of war, and that's why Die Hard is so good because it's very small in scale. What's at stake? It's money and the lives of like 20, 30 persons. That's it. But it's close enough. It's something that feels personal because his ex-wife is one of the it's one of the persons that's being kidnapped. The cop on the other side has some past regrets, and he tries to help for that reason. That's why it works so well. And this movie, again, it's on a small scale. He helps taking down the Zero Church, but he does so just because they took the love of his life. If they stood clear of him, they would have been safe. They could have been able to keep recruiting people into their folds, and that's it. But at the same time, it's because of Koike, this crazed girl. She wants, like, she has like a personal vendetta against him and his father because they are Catholic, which is kind of interesting. But again, it's very surface level. It doesn't work for this reason. It's like slapped on top of all these weird stories, and it could have worked even without this strange, I don't know how to describe it, religious band. I don't know. The
Uh,
movie wants to do too many things at once. I think it's juggling too many things all at once.
Um, so apart from ourselves, who would you recommend this film to?
It's difficult because it's too gross for most people who are like either Christians or who believe in God or anyway to something transcendental because a lot of the shots are kind of lewd, and I'm not talking about eroticism or stuff like this because erotic scenes are one thing. This one's almost bordering to pornographic. I would say anyone who's into weird, surreal, and psychedelic movies and was a liking for Japanese cinematography could like it, at least on a stylistic level. The story it's all over the place, and I do believe it was cobbled together with different narratives and it was like, hey, let's put this idea and this idea, insert this one here, and it was like stapled together from different sources in a sense. I'm sure Sono had a vision, and I'm pretty sure the vision comes true in a sense. But at the same time, he wanted to condense a lot of plot lines into one story that, again, I'm sounding like a broken record. This should have worked better, or at least it could have worked in a more cohesive way as a TV series. Give maybe 3 episodes. I don't know, 3 episodes following Yu's and Yu's father story for a bit. Maybe then 3 episodes following Koike's story. Then 3 episodes following Yoko's story and his relationship with Kaori, the old woman, not old woman, but mature woman who falls in love with Yu's father, Tetsu. And then the last three episodes could be where these plots collide in a sense, because it was interesting to see these characters and how Koike was trying to work with them and make so that she could recruit these people into the church, and at the same time destroy Yu's fate and ideals of finding the perfect one.
Yeah, I think the movie like almost like doesn't want to seriously explore um, any of the characters in a in a drama kind of way,
Which is
because
fine, honestly. But at the same time, they haven't got enough breathing room to become real characters. They seem more like you were saying. They seem more like tropes, archetypes, almost stereotypes of Japanese cinema to a degree, modern Japanese cinema. Rather point out, because I don't think Kurosawa would have
yeah,
crafted such a movie. But
yeah, basically it's sort of like a self-aware B movie kind of thing.
yeah, which is fine. But at the same time, I think it's another case of untapped potential, because I see this movie has some interesting ideas. The characters are fun in how over the top they are. And like you were saying, it's almost like a real life anime to a degree. And yet at the same time, seems to be too restrained in certain areas.
Like what?
And this is what I find frustrating above everything else.
Mm. I mean, restrained in what though?
For example, the over the top action scenes, or the over the top characters, and the over the top last parts. They are very similar to how Tarantino creates characters in some of his movies, how he frames the action in some of his movies, especially Kill Bill Part 1 comes to mind, and some of the scenes in Django Unchained. For example, when he shoots that servant lady and she flies into the other room. Like that's the kind of surreal exaggeration I expect from Tarantino, and I would love to see the director of this movie try to be so surreal. And I think it's a limitation of time and budget, which is understandable to a degree, since more like an independent filmmaker rather than someone with a big studio behind him.
Yeah, 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 you're absolutely right. So like it's somebody, I don't know, somebody without even the budget of a B movie trying to make a B movie or something like that. Like the violence in particular. Um,
The blood effects were kind of nice. I like the over the top, like you stab someone and 20 liters of blood comes spilling out. It's the kind of over the top stuff that I kind of enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Like it was kinda cathartic when he stabbed the cult leader from the Zero Church, the guy with the horrible haircut. Like that felt so cathartic. Like felt really good. And I wish the scene after that it got so close to be almost like Tarantino levels of over the top when it's like dressed in a drag and fighting with a katana. That was kind of fun. I wish it went a little bit longer, and I wish he was the guy killing that evil nasty girl. I won't say
rather
the
rather
B
than
word here.
yeah, rather than killing herself, I guess.
Yeah, I
That
felt
was
a little
that
bit
was
of a
too good for
but I
that.
was like,
Yeah,
it was still satisfying, but I wish he hacked away at her. Like, oh well.
it's time for revenge, right?
Except it was a little bit like, oh come on, it's almost sword blood.
So I don't remember seeing any actually fully naked set scenes, but it
No, no, there was not um explicit nudity. However,
it makes
there
up
were
for it. It makes up for it.
yeah,
It-
there were enough panty
yeah.
shots and stuff like this. Like again, in certain at certain times, it felt like the what you will find on the cutting floors of a porn movie.
Yeah,
Everything that they cut around, like, and that's why I find it rather repulsive in some regards.
it like it doesn't try to be like sophisticated or like oh there's some
No, no, it's not a Pasolini's movie.
okay uh, okay uh,
Again, and that's why I find it such a frustrating movie. I see a lot of potential in this very bizarre story with all these bizarre characters. And at the same time, the story is not pushed. The story and the character are not pushed far enough to escape their usual tropes. The only character that I found kind of interesting was the father because he's such a. It was interesting to see someone who seemed to be really struggling with his fate. So in such a culture like Japan, so that was kind of interesting. But again, it went nowhere.
yeah
By the end of the story, you don't know, is he still a priest? Did he receive the permission from the Vatican to marry this woman?
yeah I mean
You don't know.
like there's a lot of weird stuff happening here and there, but there's no deeper meaning to it. Like the only it's just it's just saying quote like the usual love overcomes all, and there's no deeper meaning basically.
Yeah.
Um, okay. So, by the way, in the subtitles that you had, did it say at
hmm
the start that like this is based on a true story?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I checked two of the side titles, and both of them said like inspired.
Oh, inspired, I see.
So since it's a inspired in one, and I think based on other, I'm like inspired and based is not the same thing. Inspired can be more like loose when it comes to what the story actually is about. And I don't know what real story is behind all of this. Honestly.
Yeah, I think basically from what I know, it's the director's experience in being in a cult supposedly, and also supposedly this other guy who helped make the movie. which I
Mm.
couldn't really find anything like the upskirting guy
Mm-hmm.
here basically.
Well, I can see that the movie is rather critical about cults rather than religion, because, however weirdly and inconsistently depicted Christianity is, at least they got most of the things about the Catholic faith correct. Like the part when it's like, when the lady Kaori, the lady that is in love with the priest, tries to go to confession and she wants to confess to him. He's like, you do, and to him, and I'm talking about the priest Tetsu. And he's like, you do not confess to me, you confess to God. I'm just, it's like trying to say, I'm not the one forgiving you. I just work in His name, in the name of the Lord, which it's correct.
Yeah,
No one,
yeah,
no real Catholic would believe that it's the priest absolving you. In that moment, the priest works in persona Christi, which means in it's pretty much the manifestation. It's working through Christ. Christ works through the priest. The priest is more like a tool rather than a person in that moment.
yeah. I mean, it's almost like for that woman, like a confession is like it's a love confession rather than
Yeah, exactly. That part was kind of, again, it was interesting because it was something that could happen in real life. Again, as I said, I met a former priest that got married, and my father was friend with the son of a former priest. So it's not absurd. It's not something like, oh, this is impossible. This is not. No, it can happen. It's honestly something that I'm sure some priests have struggled with in the past. From what I know, even Pope John Paul II, Karol Wojtyła, in the past had a girlfriend, and then it was like, I'm sorry, I need to leave you. I feel a call to become a priest. So it's a struggle for everyone. Absolutely, that's undeniable, and that was what an interesting part of the movie. I'm really sorry that the movie is so like keeps alternating between these very surreal, light-hearted moments and very overly dramatic.
yeah. But
Because
yeah. But I guess when it comes to the confessions, obviously there's used confessions, fake confessions, and
that part was kind of interesting because like his father is trying to expiate his own, and then later on in the movie they kind of used its own fault, like when the girl Koike is using his own weakness, like saying you were lusting after this woman, and that's why you were forcing your son to go to confession. And it's like that one was kind of interesting. It's like he's trying to expiate his own uh, weakness through his son. It was quite interesting because it's something that you don't see very often analyzed in such terms in any media. The idea of someone who used to be a married man, then he became a man of God, who has a son, and that's fine because technically that's allowed in the Catholic Church and in others, and even in the Orthodox Church, most of the times. And at the same time, though, because of his frustration and his own mistakes, it's sort of like trying to find catharsis in hearing his son's confession, like if it was almost hearing his own confessions.
right,
But they don't dwell on it enough. They don't explain. They don't.
yeah, they don't. And I think they do like kind of towards the end try to mirror the confession scenes with you know when Yu gets hired by Bukake Shah and become
Yeah, that again was kind of interesting when he has to hear all things like "I forgive you, I forgive you, I forgive you," but you can feel that He's like sort of disgusted by the people and himself.
Yes, basically he because he refused to um like have sex while making porn.
Hmm.
uh,
He's made fun of by becoming like they turn him into a fake priest in a sense.
yeah,
They make him a mockery of his own faith.
of his own
And again,
father.
that's why,
So yeah,
yeah, that's why it's so frustrating. That's so interesting. Dwell more on it, explore it.
yeah, but
If it was a
but
TV series, there could be a whole episode about this.
I think basically they just see it as a joke essentially.
It
Yeah,
is. It is sort of like, but it's kind of a bitter joke. You can feel it that it's like is someone pretty much making not laughing with, but laughing at him. And I felt it was interesting how they twisted this concept of what confession is like, because for us Catholics, the sacrament of reconciliation is one of the most important ones. It's one of the key components of our faith. And the person that's talking to us is invested with incredible power. He has the power to, in a sense, remove almost all of our sins. Then, of course, we still need to pay for it. But he has the power to, if I commit a mortal sin, my soul is condemned to hell. If I die in state of mortal sin, I go straight to hell. There is no excuse, pretty much, unless there is a divine intervention. But you cannot rely on that. That's why we need confession. We need to go confess our sins, be truly repentant, and wish to change, and then we are forgiven, and that burden is taken out of us. Sure, every mortal sin, every single sin, is gonna be, in a sense, leave is going to leave a mark, and that's why we have purgatory in Catholicism, and in some forms of or the Orthodox Church. So
so
yeah, I felt it was
yeah.
quite interesting how they used it in the movie. Like they made it a mockery of itself, and you could feel how Yu was disgusted by himself having to partake in this mockery.
Yeah, so to explain the scene a bit, like so he's dressed as Yui is dressed as a priest, kind of in drag. I don't know. Would you describe that as?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can see he has like makeup, eyeliner. I think he has some like glitters and lipstick, and he has to listen to the confession of these perverts at
Yeah,
this event by this pornographic company that hired him, and he's forced to do this because it's the only way he can hope to see Yoko, because she's been sort of abducted by the Zero Church.
right. And again, like we don't really get to hear fully any of the confessions. They just
Mm.
each of the
I kind
perverts.
of like that. Honestly, that editing was kind of nice because at the beginning you can feel that at the beginning he sort of cares for the people who are appearing in front of him. And then, as more and more people start to pile up, he cares less and less, and he doesn't even listen to them. You just hear fragments of their confession. It's like, "You are absolved. You are forgiven. You are absolved. You are forgiven." Just doesn't care anymore. It's like, which is the opposite of what confession is, because priest usually has to be invested. He has to understand you. He has to even ask questions. Technically, a real a real confession, sometimes the priest inquires, like, asks you why, how many times, um, if there are any things that made it worse, because they need to fully understand, give you the rights. A priest also suggests you how to overcome certain bad habits or certain habitual sins. More than one time when I went to confession, the priest gave me advices on how to uh, improve my spiritual and day-to-day life, which is an important part of confession. Whereas you can see that you became so, it's just going through the motions, like you're absolved, you're absolved, you're absolved. After the fourth person, you already lost all interest. It's just doing it because he really hopes to be able to see Yoko, and
Yeah.
is fed up with all of this, even just after a few minutes.
Yeah, and obviously he's already planning, thinking about doing something, because when the pervert with the bomb shows up, he says,
Yes, yes,
"Le-
we need to talk later on.
later."
I do believe at the beginning he's afraid that the guy is about to bomb the place where they are in. He's like, wait a second, let's talk. Don't place the bomb here. At the same time, he's like, he finds an unlikely ally in this guy. I found kind of funny. The narrative, it made sense, and it was kind of an interesting character development because, like, he's becoming more observant of what's going on around him. And he's trying to take advantage of everything to pursue his goal.
Right. So the cult also, speaking of confession, I think the cult
Mhm.
also has like a form of confessing your sins or whatever at their
Yeah,
re-education camps.
but
Um,
that one I find it kind of interesting. It's interesting because the Zero Church, this cult, uses the confession against you, whereas a Catholic priest would never do that. He would not use it as a chip to bet against you. He wouldn't use it as a way to extort something out of you. That's why there is the secret of the confessional. Let's say I killed someone. The priest cannot go after confession and call the local police. He has to say to me, you need to go and speak with the police. You committed a crime. It's not just a sin, it's a crime on top of it. He cannot go and use it against me. Whereas you can feel that the Zero Church uses past sins as a way to leverage some control over these people, which is sort of what many cults do because they sort of say we can blackmail you with all of this, whereas in the Catholic Church that's something that could never be done. If a priest were to try something like this, it would be defrocked immediately because he would be breaking the vow of silence. They cannot speak about what's going on in the confessional. So that was both accurate and quite interesting because it shows how cults really work compared to religions, at least most of the times.
yeah. Speaking of cults in Japan, I mean, she apparently, the assassin, I don't know if you would call it that, murderer or whatever, of
Hmm.
Shinzo Abe. He was motivated by something to do with cults. Um,
Yeah, I heard that there was some talk about how Shinzo Abe was pushing a religion that was wrong, but did they say anything else? Because I haven't checked in a few days.
so basically, the guy who killed Shinzo Abe claims that his mother donated all of her money to a cult
Hmm.
and became bankrupt because of it, and that Shinzo Abe supported that cult. So because of that,
That's weird. All that I know about Shinzo Abe is his wife is Catholic.
I see. I also believe it is sort of a Christian based.
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't really Christians, but I think it was like he had amical. It was in amicable terms with Christians. He recognized that they were like an important minority in Japan. Again, because he was married to a Catholic, so I imagine he had some. He was exposed to some of the positive aspects. of Christianity.
Okay, I wouldn't describe this film as necessarily anti-religious or anti-clerical. It's
Hmm.
more like it just doesn't care. um,
No, exactly. He uses there is an interesting chat between the main character with these three sidekicks and those three priests, where it's like we are dealing with a lot of people who have been involved with this cult, and we are trying to help a lot of them. You need to understand that we cannot focus on just one person, which I felt it was it was an okay, like, it's true. Sometimes it's difficult to help individuals, and I do understand why that's sort of a real and concrete criticism. Sometimes when you look after a flock, you sort of lose sight of the individual sheep,
so
whereas a true shepherd should go after the lost sheep no matter how difficult it is. So it was an honest criticism, flawed but honest.
yeah, but then the priest sort of gets a bit nasty. One of the priests, anyway,
Yeah,
and
towards the end,
yeah, he says
but
something something,
yeah, it says we don't associate with people like you. You're involved in
and
pornographic industry.
yeah, and he also I remember I think says that, well, it was you people who drove her to
Mm-hmm.
to join the cult. It's your fault essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, that scene felt honest. Like, it didn't feel like they were accusing that the author was a church. It was more like accusing like the individuals inside the church that sometimes do these kind of things. And it was more like a genuine wrong reaction rather than someone planning to be nasty for the sake of being nasty. It was brought up because of the heat of the moment, and a priest is still a human person, so of course sometimes they may say or do something stupid or counterproductive or that goes against the the values, the norms, the ethics, and even the religion itself that is professing.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I remember like at some point, yeah, during the Corinthians scene,
Mhm.
I believe that you said, well, if you want to like if to talk about Jesus, then let's just go to the church. Um, it doesn't matter if it's Buddha or Muhammad
Yeah,
or Jesus, just not the just not the zero church.
yeah, that was
Anything
a
else?
little bit of a little bit syncretist, but I think it's an honest moment of frustration from the character rather than, I don't know if it's the author trying to say it doesn't matter what you believe in, just don't get involved with weird cults. But it felt, again, honest. It was the character frustrated with the situation, unable to break through this person, so it's like vents out his frustration in this way. That's again why I really like the scene on the seaside when they're on this beach, living for a few days inside this wreck of a bus. It felt real. It felt like something that, as weird as it was human. It was really connected with our humanity and our questions, our quest for God, in a sense, our quest for something. We are not just the flesh. We are not just the material side that we can see and that we can feel with our five senses. There is something more.
Yeah, but it's just that our
Yeah, everything else around it is kind of weird.
yeah, I mean, our protagonist's love quest begins with this guru who says that like happiness, the truth, whatever you're seeking for can be found here, and he points as at the picture
Hmm.
of a woman's crotch or something.
That's kind of interesting because it reminds me again a little of these writers like Desad and the this kind of perverse school of thought that even came out in the 1960s with Foucault and people like this. Even if I'm not very well versed, I think there is like a connection between this. Like everything that matters is pleasure in
I
itself.
mean, when you think about it, that guru like sort of did look like kind of a 60s kind of guru guy. I don't know, or maybe not. Um,
Well, there is a little bit of that for sure with this idea that the most important thing is like this sort of egotistic search for pleasure. About
yeah,
everything else, it's pleasure, it's yourself and being satisfied with life and
yeah, but
all kind of perversions and kind of
yeah.
like this.
Again, not sure how seriously we're supposed to take any of it.
No, that's the thing. I really like this movie because so the same doesn't tap enough into this how bonkers some of the characters and the morals that they try to teach are.
um, yeah. So, I mean that again. When it comes to that scene, like there's like everything is like just a prop for a comedic moment. Like for example, this guru gives the protagonist this tattered book, which saying
Yeah.
like saying that like this is the only book that I've written. Read it by tomorrow. Um, you know, kind of like what's his name, Oberstein or whatever, giving Goldstein's book to Winston Smith in 1984, whatever. Like the truth is
Hmm.
in there or whatever. But you know, when when he opens the book, like I don't know if it's if the book has only got one line in it, or if we are
Yeah,
only
you don't really understand. But it's kind of funny.
yeah. And it's something generic like I was lonely. And
Yeah, which is kind of true because, in a sense, that's one of the effects of sin. Things makes us feel both lonely, like, and it turns us really lonely because people usually certain scenes are not exactly like it's one of the themes in the movie when he's exposed as a pervert. Everyone wants to move away from him. So you can understand why he says, I felt so lonely. Yeah, because you caused it. You brought it upon yourself and you try to fill the void with even more void. The void of being a voyeur caused the void to grow even deeper. And again, reminds me of what a priest told me. The void calls to himself the void. And you can imagine, how a river, let's say, turns into a waterfall. Imagine an underground waterfall. This water plunging into the depths in an
oh,
underground cavern. Oh, hey, Fahrenheit.
yeah,
Hello, can you guys hear me? I'm fine.
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
can hear.
we
Yeah.
can hear you fine.
Okay, good, good.
Mm.
I'd say that's the same principle. Water falls into the void, lands on these rocks in the underground, and starts to erode them. And the waterfall, in a sense, becomes deeper and deeper. It's the same thing with sin, it's the same thing with all these kind of bad behaviors. They isolate you both physically, because people usually are disgusted by certain behaviors, and they isolate you on even a psychological and spiritual way because your sin becomes deeper and deeper every time you go back to it. And that's why confession you should feel worse and worse if you repeat a sin.
So you
I
see,
know
s-
I'm getting
so
maybe too metaphysical.
So you see Fahrenheit. We are having a very pious discussion about love exposure.
No, because I'm trying to be fair to the author. I imagine certain concepts when it comes to the Catholic faith are rather unknown to the large Japanese public, since less than 1% of Japan is Catholic. But it's interesting that I try to tackle them at the same time, despite how shallow they may be.
So Fahrenheit. I re-listened to the stream we did last time, and the audio was somehow even more awful than it is in our current streams. Um,
Yeah. Well, we're always improving, aren't we? So
yeah, so the last stream was on July 16th, 2021. So it's almost a year
yeah.
since we watched this movie. Um, so I guess kind of related to some of the things we have been talking about, like last time you watched this film, Fahrenheit, you said that one of the things you liked was how like the characters do not grow. Like for example, uh, the um, the thugs. I don't know how would you call them. The three friends who are there for the protagonist, even where after who are there even after he gets exposed as a pervert, basically because they're perverts as well. How like basically their characters do not grow at all. They just um, stay the same. Anyhow, Fahrenheit. Did you get a chance to rewatch the movie?
I did. I didn't watch the cuts you sent me with the extra 40 minutes. Um, was it worth it? The extra 40 minutes?
Unfortunately, so Fahrenheit is talking about the TV series, which has an extra 40 minutes. But unfortunately, nobody's seeding it. No, nobody's seeding that torrent, so I couldn't watch it. And even I'm not sure if it even has subtitles. Hopefully it does. Um, so I
Oh, you
couldn't
see,
watch it.
this is why you stream everything, by the way. Uh,
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Um, yeah, you know what? On this second viewing, I actually enjoyed the film a lot more. Um, mainly because I wasn't like distracted by like small things like the cultural differences, or trying to figure out like what's happening. Basically, I was able to sort of get a much I don't know, a clearer view of what was sort of being said. And then I went to watch the behind the scenes as well, and that was very good too. Um, it definitely it definitely reveals a lot about the film, the behind the scenes. Um, yeah,
So your old school, or rather Toad Agent's old school,
yeah,
was
yeah.
was
I'll
so
kill him. What? What?
yeah,
Yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah, I did a stream with somebody called Toad Agent, if you recall him. Um,
Oh man, yeah, yeah. That fucking guy. Oh my god.
yeah. So he gave it a 7 out of 10, and the reasons that he gave for that score was that the film gave
His
him
look, okay, look, this full edit guy is full of shit. Okay, he doesn't know what he's talking about. This film is a solid 8, or maybe even a 9, actually.
Oh my.
um,
Yeah,
so the reasons that he gave for the low score was that was the unreal feeling. You no, sorry, I mean him. He said that he didn't believe in the film too much. Um, you yeah he couldn't make sense. You couldn't make sense of much of a lot of the characters, especially the main villain. Her motivations. Why would the love interest
yes,
even?
exactly. This guy was like completely full of it, wasn't he? Come on.
Well,
let's just ignore him.
One of the questions that you had that you didn't understand was why would the love interest even go back to the mental health hospital? You were pretty sure that any real girl in real life would avoid the psycho who broke into the Zero Church and dismembered everyone. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, okay, that's true, but this isn't like a normal film, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, I do understand like much better now story terms, right? Um, I stand by that statement. I don't think I think there would have to be like something like wrong with you if you're like, damn, that's hot, you know. But anyway,
um,
uh,
um, so you got a chance to watch the making of Love Exposure documentary.
well, watched half of it in my in my signature half-assed approach I take to these things. But yeah, what I did watch was quite interesting. So there was the girl who played Yoko, and then there was the girl who had the birds, and she has a name as well.
Koike.
The Yeah, thank you.
No, it's Koike, sorry. Koike.
Oh, okay, okay, that's okay. Uh, right, in like IRL, those characters had a very close relationship, which was pretty interesting because obviously in the film, um, they do have like quite an intimate relationship for a good portion of it as well. So I thought that was kind of interesting, like I don't know, like a life for imitating art, in in a strange way. But yeah, but it was it was very well. It was kind of unsurprising that this film was so painful to make for the director. It definitely felt like a lot of him went in. A lot of his a lot of his personality went into the film, right? So it obviously would have been quite painful, and I'm pretty sure like our main protagonist, he also has a name in the film too. But
You.
our yeah yeah you yeah like basically you is pretty much the director's self-insert character, and which makes the exposure kind of like semi autobiographical, right? Um, which is very interesting. Yeah, I think you definitely feel that all out throughout all throughout the film. A lot of the events in the film um, relate to events in his life. I mean, I don't think he's a transvestite, but he did in the behind the scenes he was wearing a hat, and Miss Scorpion also wears a hat, so
You can see the parallel.
Yeah, I recall that he said that he ran away from home when he was 17 years old,
Hmm.
and that he kind of wanted to capture like the miserable um, experience of dinner table experience with the dinner
oh yeah.
where Aya is there as well, with the family there, I
Hmm.
think. And obviously, as I believe that apparently he joined the cult after running away from home. So yeah. Um, okay. Um,
Ah, yeah, the full name of the villain, so to say, it's Aya Koike. So just to be.
Ayako.
I echo. Okay, right. I got it. I'm definitely gonna forget that, but it doesn't matter. I do want to make a quick comparison with August in the Water because that's a live action film made in Japan. Made in Japan that we've all seen recently. I think it Live Exposure also had this also had like a lot of the same qualities, right? In that the camera was quite close. Um, oftentimes the camera was quite shaky. It felt very intimate, um, and oftentimes it would also, Love Exposure also has that sort of, that's a dreamlike quality to it. Um, Oftentimes, August in the Water, well, I mean, I would say that August in the Water definitely has more of a dreamlike quality than Love Exposure, but
Hmm.
I think there's similarities because, like, I'd say there's definite similarities, right?
Yeah, there is sort of a feverish dream quality to both of them in some areas.
Fahrenheit, one of the things which we discussed earlier was one of the complaints which we had last time we talked about the movie, which was that um, like we both basically said that, well, the movie doesn't really say anything, like, well, what is even the message of the film, and I guess we sort of came to the conclusion that like what the movie is saying is so simple that, like, um, maybe that's why we didn't get it. Like, it's just saying, uh, love, love overcomes all, some silly message, like that, basically, in terms of what the message of the film is.
Yeah, yeah. This film is like simultaneously like really simple, but also like
Yeah,
very it's also like quite complex as well.
exactly.
I think it gets up that like really good balance. Sort of sort of in everyday life. Um, you, you sort of come up with you sort of find these very simple concepts, but also these very complicated scenarios. Right, not to sound like an ass sniffer or something, but I mean, you know, uh, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it definitely felt like life, like as if as if you like really were sort of getting into the mind of you, his thoughts, his experiences, in the film, and it's also done in this very genuine, exposed way, right? And and um, I think that's what's really endearing about the film, right? Where you just get to spend like 4 hours in the mind of a horny teenage boy, and that's like this that's what I feel about this film.
Yeah, I see the wind noise as sub back. I may
Yeah. I made a terrible mistake. I climbed too far up the hill, and I'm walking back down now.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, what I was going to say is that, like, I called this stream, Love Exposure Revisited. So
yeah,
it sort of plays into it that, like, the background noises are back as well, like for the last for the
yeah.
last.
That's what I was thinking, right? I
They
thought
were
I
a
thought I could bring
mandatory
some
part of
nostalgia.
the stream.
Hang on, guys.
Um. So, do you guys know who Kurt Cobain is? Because I remember
Yep.
Yoko said that, uh, uh, she,
Yoko.
she
Yeah, she was like, no, I don't think it
Yeah,
was Yoko.
I hate
No, it was
I hate
Yoko,
all
yes.
men apart from Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain and Jesus.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, and Jesus Christ.
So,
Which is
Um,
something that I think it was someone else who was comparing these two figures as well. So it's not surprising that this character does the same.
I mean, I don't really know anything about this Kurt Cobain. Isn't he
Kurt
just?
Cobain was the lead singer of the grunge band Nirvana.
I see.
Grunge being a movement that happened in the late 80s, early 90s. It was this kind of they were more linked by a cultural identity than a musical identity. You've got bands like Nirvana, Helmet, Alice in Chain, Pearl Jam. It was sort of a rebellious kind of music. That's why the term was grunge, a little bit like punk. They were against the current culture, and Nirvana were pretty much the front man of this movement. Kurt Cobain was someone that was pretty much a predecessor of SJWs in many ways. One of the famous songs by Nirvana is called "Rape Me." That's pretty much a song in which Kurt Cobain tried to say that there is nothing worse than rape. Rape is worse than homicide, for example, because in a sense, being a survivor of rape is worse than being killed. He performed on stage dressed as a woman to decry the evil of the rape culture we are living in. It was sort of an activist before activism was mainstream.
Let me think. So
Yeah,
so Yoko, who is also
yeah.
sort of a, I don't know, is she a lesbian? Sort of.
Well, she is really
Well, she
she
thought she
was
was.
impacted, she was impacted by the bad relationship with her father, and she hates all men. So you can understand why she would like someone like Kurt Cobain. It's like, oh, men are so evil and stuff like this.
Mm.
Yeah, this is yeah. Honestly, yeah, this is maybe like the film more because that's actually like a pretty clever. It makes perfect sense why Goku would like Kurt Cobain, right? It's more than just like this like dumb joke, isn't it? Well, obviously,
Yeah.
it's a works on the level of like a stupid joke, but I don't know, it makes sense.
Yeah,
hmm
I guess what makes less sense is why like she's suddenly into Jesus. Uh, I guess
I
Um,
do believe it's because just
okay.
because of yeah, exactly, because this older woman is like always talking about this, and she's the one who saves her from her biological father.
yeah. I went
Jesus
um
is my savior.
so I went back to the Corinthians scene, and so basically Yu's reply was replies to Yoko of I'm a pervert but not a phony. I'm a pervert with dignity. And listen,
Yeah.
listen, all perverts were created equal.
Mm.
Um, right. So okay. Yeah, it's a pity that you came in a bit late because we basically went over a lot of the stuff you said
I'll
last time.
Yeah, well, it's fine. I will tell you why I'm so late. It's because like a small child wanted to like play superhero with me. So I was pretending to be Iron Man, and he was Spider Man. And so basically, I did like a campaign with him, pretty much, where Iron Man was killed by Spider Man. Yeah, he's kind of an interesting
Send the
kid,
script to
but
Marvel. They're gonna buy it.
yeah, honestly, I think it would be very dramatic if Iron Man died to the hands of Spider Man. I can't really explain why, but I think it would get a lot I think it would get a lot of butts and seats, let's say,
Yep.
for people to come and see Spider Man kill Iron Man. But anyway, also sort of on top of that, um yeah, like I'm lazy and I couldn't for like 10 minutes I couldn't be asked like to leave to like go outside. So but anyway, um
Hmm.
it's my aristocratic blood. It causes me to be lazy all the time. That's my excuse. It's But anyway, oh god, like what was I even going to say? Oh yes, yeah, as I was saying, I got a lot more out of the film on the second viewing, and then to sort of see like all the actors then like react to like the length of the script. It's very funny actually, like how certain actors reacted to like their lines in the script, because a lot of the actors acted just like their characters in the film, which was very funny. Like a used father, for example, um, the actor who plays his father is basically just like the same as the character in the film, which was kind of amusing. Um, what I guess. So anyway, yeah, I do think this film is like very dense. There's like so much going on in every frame. Um, wherein oh my god, okay, so nobody got that. Um, so even a scene as simple as like a as like the dining scene that's sort of at the end of the film where there's Yoko and she has like her new family. Um, there's like a lot going on there. I think in the making, um, the director like explicitly said that I want to recreate the hell that was like you know um, dining with like your family.
Hmm.
And I think he did like a very good job. There's that sort of like uncomfortable sort of like bored feeling that he captured very well. And then like even after that, there's a Yoko, and she talks to the girl of this adopted family, and she talks about like how she's crying so much. I don't think it was revealed why she was crying, but it doesn't really matter. And then there's like a nice little link there with like where she says she thinks there's like blood, where she thinks there's blood coming out of her face.
Hmm.
And that sort of like allows Yoko to sort of empathize properly with you, and then and that's kind of why she decides to go back to um the mental hospital, or like whatever you call
Yeah,
it,
that's true.
the
You can
asylum.
see that at one point, when he enters the Zero Church facility, at one point when he's crying, you can see blood in his eyes.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I really expressed last time like how much of like a great job the actors did in this film, especially especially the actress who plays the Yoko, and the actor who plays you is great too. It's just I think this will be like a lesser film, a less convincing film if other people played it. I'm a genuinely saying that. Also, also the fact that Yoko is like pretty also helps quite a lot. Uh, um, but yeah, she does give some like really good scenes. I think when they were filming it, she was like 20 years. No, yeah, like yeah, like during filming, she turned from like 21 to 22. But I believe in the film she plays like a character that's younger. Um, and yeah, like honestly, I couldn't tell um that she was kind of too old for the role. Well, I mean, obviously she wasn't too old, but she was convincing. Even playing someone like a different age, having all these intense emotional scenes. Yeah, I think she was the best actor in the film. Like it was yeah, she in particular definitely elevated the film. Um, yeah, plus just like the clownish nature of you, and just like he really does give like this like very earnest performance as well. Is good. I'm just like I know I might repeat myself, but I think you just need like underlying how great these actors were. Um, you know when again in the behind the scenes, you could you could you could like see him like freezing his arse off as they're like spraying him for like the 10th shot in like fake rain. They're like they're like spraying him with water because it's supposed to be raining very like heavily in that one particular scene, and he's just like smiling and like laughing. It's a very it's very sweet. But yes, it kind of reminded me of like um the behind the scenes for like Lord of the Rings in like a weird way. I would try my best not to like repeat myself from last time, but my memory does not go back a
I
year
mean,
in such granular detail.
I think last time we kind of said that the acting, like, it was like it's sort of like uh, real people trying to act like anime characters, um, and that at least it took a while to get used to it. Um,
It did, it did. It's also possible that I may have just like grown accustomed. But I think even then, like it was very realistic, especially the sort of the very sort of close family, scenes, you know, especially surrounding like the dinner table and then like the scenes with the scenes with the church. Obviously, there was some like dramatic elements, but those scenes definitely did not feel like an anime, like at all. Um,
yeah, yeah,
it was like it's more like the fight scenes and like the whole plots with like Miss Scorpion. Um, that felt that felt more theatrical and like more anime, you could say. But again, this fourth agent guy is definitely like full of shit. I don't know, like why you talk to him.
yeah. So um, who knows? Who knows? Maybe if we do another one of these in a year, and I don't know, next time we'll have Elder Thoughts as well, and next time Kiasmo, you will like the, the movie as well, maybe.
I see.
um,
It's not like this. I know it's not like I dislike it. Just mean there is too much to it, and I'm going to say this for the fourth or fifth time. It would be better as a TV series.
mm,
Yeah, I mean it definitely feels like an epic. Like I think last time I watched the whole film in like one sitting, and I missed a lot of the details. But this time I sat down and I watched it in three separate parts.
mm,
That's much better. I think this film is best um so, sort of watched in like smaller chunks. Um,
Hmm.
just because oh god, I just I
so
hang on, hang on, let me like catch my breath.
okay, okay, so so in the meantime, let me just say that
Look.
Todd Agent said that he watched it in two sittings, not one. Uh,
Oh, oh, did he?
yes,
Well, he's not me, so you know.
yeah. Um, right. So what were you going to say? Can you remember it now?
Yes, yes. I just think it's best to digest this film in like smaller chunks. Like, I wouldn't like advise watching it like as I did, or maybe even like all in like one go. I think I said in that old video that I watched it in two halves, but I watched it all on the same day. I think it is worthwhile taking a while to think about like what you've just seen. I'm in the wind tunnel again. I apologize. Um, um, yeah, because there's just like a lot to process, right? So it definitely does help.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do agree. It's something that's better. Um, it's better to split it like three parts.
I mean, it's basically it basically is split in three parts within like itself. Um,
To a degree,
yeah.
yes.
So yeah, the conversation has kind of died. But
Mhm.
so we've talked about.
I'm back. I'm back. Sorry. I've been resurrected from the dead. Sorry, about that. I just had to mute myself because
So
like a bunch of dogs were like running past.
uh, yeah. So it, anyway, last time I remember you said that the music wasn't really that good. Did that change as
No,
well?
wrong. The music was fine. No. The the music was fine. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I was mad. I was such an asshole. No, sorry, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, Forte Agent was like such an ass. He's not me, by the way. Um, honestly, I think I was like too fussy. You know. Since then, I've seen like a lot more like crap. Just like in
Mhm.
general, and I think I have like more of a perspective, I guess.
Uh,
Of course, like when we go back to do this again in a year's time, I of course I'm going to a BTFO this like Fahrenheit guy, and so I so I don't take anything I say seriously because
yeah.
I'm just going to do
I wonder what you,
I'm going to put out a new revision every year.
yeah, a new
So
username as well. Like
yeah,
so uh,
yes, exactly.
so
No, I actually might be changing my username soon because of Paul Fahrenheit, and like people are like always confused in certain circles. So I might like end up changing my username for like convenience, but not soon, obviously, because I quite like Fahrenheit. It's quite a good username, unlike the gay Fort Agent, which is who is lame and uncool.
yeah.
Um,
So last time, by the way,
I
given.
came, I came here to like do a civil discussion about low exposure, but instead I find myself like fighting my like I'm like literally fighting myself basically. Like I'm beating up on my younger self. I think
It was just a year ago.
if I had a I think if I had a time machine, I wouldn't like survive because I would just like because I always go back in time and like beautify myself like so much that
To, like
I would I would feel like
to be fair, like last time that so you said that like you have watched a lot of crap since then, and last time we we watched this in between like
I,
getting totally tired about talking
yes,
about
fate,
fate.
right? Yeah. Oh my
and,
god, yeah.
and then
I want to. I want to. I think we should revisit Fate because I don't know. Like
we revisited.
I want to moan again. I want like I just want to like spend like 2 hours like complaining basically about Fate again. Uh,
Um, yeah, I mean, given that we are back to this, why not? And then at the end of the stream, you were like, so I said that the next movie is going to be all about Lily Cho Cho, and both of us were kind of looking forward to it because it's like another suggestion by Paz, Artificial Night Sky.
Mhm.
Uh,
yeah, yeah. All about Lily Cho Cho is not great. Um, I think if I went back and watched that film again, I think my response would still be the same basically. You know when I didn't talk about this, but when I was watching Live Exposure, the first time and this time again, I was actually emotionally touched by it. I think I did like shed a tear during watching this film. For I can't really like explain why either. It just sort of, I don't know, like touched something deep, sort of with, you know, yeah, it just like touched something deep within me, and yeah, so I think I am like biased on like a emotional level. Um, I obviously it's a shame I wasn't like around sooner to like hear the critiques Chesra would have given it from like a more um theistic, I don't know, like maybe Catholic perspective. But like the engagements with Catholicism in this film are like mostly surface level, but I also think that it does do a good job to show um family life of a Catholic, right, of like a Catholic
Hmm.
family. But yeah, like that, like that's basically as far as it goes. Like I'm not gonna, I'm, I don't see this film as like
No, not
um,
really.
uh,
Yeah.
um, really sort of like a Catholic film. I think that's sort of like a accessory to the message, which of course
Hmm.
is love conquers all,
Yeah.
and also if you dress as a woman, you become a badass. So
Um, so yeah, let's see. More disagreements. So let's ask this question from Fahrenheit again. Do you think that um, you passed as that Miss Scorpion, sorry, Miss Scorpion passed as a woman, or did you think it looked
no,
no? And
I think it was pretty obvious that you was wearing a Miss Scorpion outfit, but like that's not really important. Like obviously,
Yeah.
would have realized as soon as like she saw you and made that connection that like this guy looks like Miss Scorpion. But it's like that's not obviously it's a film and it's allowed to sort of escape reality
Hmm.
in these in these dimensions.
True.
Like let's just say that you know the power of a Miss Scorpion allowed her to sorry allowed him to I don't know convincingly disguise himself to women or something. Um, it I did find arc sort of to do with Miss Scorpion quite interesting. I think the film does touch on something like kind of true in that I'm pretty sure that a lot of girls or women are like bi, and they're only really sort of gay or not gay because of like the environment, like the social pressures. So you know, plus also in a Yuno's case, she has like she has a very negative background with men in general,
Yeah.
with her father. So it did make perfect sense that she would venerate Miss Scorpion as he like beat up like 20 men and things, and then and then she would obviously like begin thinking she was like gay. Um, plus obviously the fact that you know Zero Church Bird Girl, I forgot her name again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She's also like manipulating her through through the film, along with like Hugh's family too. And I think when I was watching this back and I could pay more attention to to the actions of some of these um secondary characters, you could say, like the like oh my god, her name, it evades me. Like like a bird girl.
ah yeah,
You could
uh,
yes thank you Aya
Yep.
you could like
Koike
definitely
Aya.
yeah, oh my god, like I'm such an idiot, my brain is like a sieve. But yeah, like you can definitely see her slowly influence Yu's family as the film goes
Yeah.
on. She becomes very important to the family, and then she's able to sort of peel them away from him after she
Hmm.
sort of frames him.
As this
Does
monster, yeah.
exactly right, and yeah, she's Aya is also a really great character in this film too. She's like genuinely creepy, but also like you have like a lot of empathy for her. Also, I have a theory that her bird isn't real, and that her bird died in that flashback scene, and sort of like whenever she's getting the birds out, that's like what she's imagining, and it sort of like becomes and it becomes a metaphor for her pretty much. Um, yeah, and then and then in the end she tragically dies. Well, I mean she like kills herself. And then the bird flies away. I don't know.
Hmm.
That was a pretty interesting shot. I think that I think that had many connotations that I can't explain. So yeah, that
Hmm.
was good.
So one of the problems we had, like, what was Aya Koike's motivation for doing all this?
I think it was mostly like a revenge for against men in general, and she saw in you sort of um her father, because her father was a Christian and she was beaten by him, so she wanted to prevent him from being happy in a sense, and that's why I wanted to destroy him.
What about you, Fahrenheit? What do you think her motivation was?
Yeah, I think that's totally true. I also think because she sees her father in you, along with like other things, because she also says very interesting things like um he's not he's not like other men basically. She also sees something very unique in you as well, and also like when you says he has original sin, Aya does say like she's very similar to him as well. So she also sees herself in him too. I think I pointed out last time that in the movie she also comes onto him, like she tries to proposition him. She tries to like gain sort of like a dominance over him. Obviously you doesn't like rise to that, but I also think she's in love with you, and
Yeah, to a
she
degree
thinks
you
that
can feel that she has feelings,
yeah,
but
yeah,
those conflict with her deeper desire to just destroy.
yeah, like she doesn't really, she's also a pervert, right? Um, ironically.
Hmm.
Yeah. So another problem we had was that um, another criticism which came up was that maybe the priest's character arc didn't properly come to an end. How do you think that it came to an end? How would you explain it?
I think I think it did come to an end. It didn't. Obviously, like he was sort of more of a supporting character, right? But he he sort of goes well, sort of throughout the film. He recognizes that he's been dishonest to his true feelings about this woman who came into his church, and really like he wanted to have a relationship with her. He felt guilty about that, so instead decided to like abuse his son.
Hmm.
I think his arc is concluded when he admits um, these mistakes these mistakes he made, and he finally becomes open about the fact that yeah, like I wanted to have sex with this woman because I love her, right?
Yeah,
And like
but at the same
he's
time,
sort
it
of able
doesn't lead
to
to anything. That's
Well, no,
what I
like
found
it doesn't.
frustrating.
Yeah, yeah, that's true, but like that's sort of when I'd say his arc ends, and he just becomes like victim support group
True, true,
man
but at the
after
same
that.
time, we don't know. Like one of the things that was left hanging is was was he allowed to live the priestly life by the Vatican or not? Was he
I
able
don't,
to marry her or not? You don't really get that.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, yeah, that's interesting.
Mm. I don't know. I guess it doesn't bother me that much because I just imagine that like it didn't really matter.
No, it's not like it's bothering me. It's just it's kind of dropped really fast without answering much.
Hmm. Yeah, because it's I don't know. It kind of seemed to me that the movie, as far as the movie is concerned, like it was more important.
No,
Uh,
of course,
for,
yeah. It's
for
more
yeah.
like Fahrenheit was saying. It's more of a support character than.
No, no, no. I mean, for that character, it was more important for him to realize that. Oh, yeah, I just love this woman, and uh,
Hmm.
yeah, that's it. And I just want to be with her. And yeah, I want to have sex with her, and that's
Yeah.
um, and the
I mean, I don't want it to be like any illusion. Like, this film is like very messy. It's not, it's not like some like super sleek, well, like fast edited, um, you know, Hollywood film or something. It's something that really does take its time. And there's enough action and interesting elements that keep you engaged, but at the same time, you are gonna have to sit there through like these like family meals, and just spend time living like pretty much like living with these people, which in one case is quite interesting, and it makes it feel very believable. But on the other hand, you have these very sort of realistic elements, and it's not particularly easy to mesh that with like the fantastical transvestite adventures of you at the same time. So it's very messy, but but this film does like it does get away with it. I'd say, because at the same time it's almost like there's also a lot of truth and honesty sort of packed in there. Sort of and I this film is sort of like a um oh my god, what do you call it? It's a oh man. It's oh god, it's a confession, right? It's basically a director's confession. He's sort of laying out his self, um, himself to you in sort of that like way that a director would. Um, yeah,
yeah, many confessions in this movie, I guess.
yeah,
Hmm.
y- yes, yes, there is. Yeah,
So another criticism which came up was that the Boner plot, the the Boner subplot, doesn't make much sense. Um, like basically that he can only fall in love with the woman that he has a boner for.
Mm.
um, so what do you think about that criticism, Fahrenheit?
um, I don't. I mean it. I mean it's it's kind of true, but it's not really the case. I mean his in love with Yoko, it's more than just like this physical thing. For you, it's also tied in with his idea of Maria.
Yeah.
It's not like this like. animalistic thing. It's more like he can he can almost see something like divine in this woman.
Yeah, it's that's what I find weird. It's like he seems to conflate or confuse the two aspects.
He does, he
That's what I
does.
hate with.
Yeah, I think it's like supposed to be confusing because
I know,
I
I
don't think
know.
yeah, I mean I don't think you understands either. Like he's just sort of taking it as it comes. I think like most of his film is basically like you like just like reacting to things.
Mm-hmm.
He's not really like that proactive apart from apart from certain parts like when he decides to blow up the Zero Church. And actually to his credit, w- where he does take action, it winds up like going well for him.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like relatively speaking. Obviously, after he raids the Zero Church in his Miss Scorpion outfit, and and he kills like half a dozen men and blows up um and blows up the building. Um, this sort of results in here in Zero Church being exposed. Um,
Yes,
like their sort of like sham scheme gets discovered. And then he ends up in a mental ward, but
mhm.
ultimately ends up like finally connecting with him and understanding him, and then saves him, and then he saves at the end. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
but Yoko and
It's a very good ending. Yeah.
the ending was good. I really like the scene when he finally snaps out of his delusion and starts to run away with everyone chasing. That was
Yeah,
kind of this.
Yeah,
he's
and
he's
he gets an
he's
erection.
he's awakened by his own like panty shot, basically.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a weird movie. That's for
it is a very strange movie, and it makes perfect sense why it was so painful to film for the director. It's like what on earth are people going to think of me after this?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you got that far, but in the making of like they show that like it's like an inflatable thing. Uh,
I suspect it's no, well,
um,
Oh man,
yeah, and they're all kind of laughing at
true
you.
true true innovation.
Yeah, they're all kind of laughing at you while like he's sitting in the classroom and like with that thing on under his trousers, including the actress playing Yuko.
yeah, I
Um,
can imagine it would be something.
uh,
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah.
yeah, I guess you know, you know, like the romance kind of in a way doesn't make sense in the sense that like why would you care so much about Yuko to the point where like he's even willing to um
Should be like
That's
she
has
would be
to
like
do
50 right now.
because it's in
Crazy.
between something that he promised to his mother and something that he feels like it's like he understands that woman, Yoko, is the only woman for him. That's
yeah
why it's willing to do
uh
all of this.
Yoko.
Mhm.
you I can't do I can't do any female voices, but anyway
Yo-
uh
I
the
I can't either. Um,
yeah, I guess we could have voiced Miss Scorpion. Then um, but I mean like
it's not good.
for most of the movie, like uh, you know, Yuko just acts like shit towards you. So
Mhm.
um,
Yeah, yeah.
so
Even if it's sort of explained, like, mostly because she hates all men.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah, and also like she like also knows he's like a pervert as well.
Yeah,
Um,
later on, she finds that's what
it,
breaks the family pretty much. But she already finds him like gross. She says, "This guy, it's really revolting. It's really weird the way he behaves towards me."
yeah. And I guess that's why it's supposed to be satisfying at the end when like her opinion changes. Let's put it that way. Um,
Hmm.
but what I was getting at is that um even though like she hasn't really done anything for him to like her, but except giving him a bone, and so it's kind of like well, it's that, and it's also because as you guys said, uh, this idea about Maria, this very vague thing about Maria that
Yeah.
his mother had told him, um,
Mhm.
and
yeah, but
yeah.
let's not underestimate the value of the bare minimum. Okay, and by this, all she has to do is give you a burner, and
Yeah,
that's the bare minimum.
that's
No,
why I
I'm
take
joking, of course.
umbrage with this idea. In the context of the movie, it's sort of so weird that it kind of works.
Yeah, I guess it kind of works because like she's the only man essentially who can,
Yeah.
because he was important for some reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Um, but,
There's like so many like small like weird details in this
Hmm.
film. It's just like amazing. Yeah, it's very it is like very it is very what's the word, rewarding if you if you come back and watch it again for the second time, because as I was trying to say, like on the second viewing you're less distracted, like you you spend less attention trying to figure out like what's happening, and you can just sort of pay more attention to like to more details and things. um
so
yeah.
one thing which neither of us got last time, and maybe you did this time, and I still don't, is what the heck was that?
Look, okay, I wasn't there last time.
Oh yeah, you weren't there. So, um, anyway, this is still, you said this is your second viewing. So, uh,
Yeah, 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 true.
so is there any meaning to the 3D CGI slow moving, slow motion bullets that that Yoko is supposedly able
Hmm.
to see? Like they bring that up once and never
Twice
twice.
in the
Really,
movie.
I can't remember.
Yeah, she talks about it a little bit later after the first time she brings it up, and I think she's more talking about the idea that I kind of like the idea that there's like a war rage witness it again has to do with Christianity, and that
I didn't hear
these
what you said.
bullets can
So,
strike anyone.
sorry, I didn't. You cut out for a moment.
Also, I was saying I like the idea that there's this war raging on, invisible bullets flying around, and they can strike anyone at any time. It's the idea that you don't know when you're going to die, which makes sense, and that there is some invisible forces working around us, which again makes sense in the context of Christianity, which, as weird as it's tackled in here, it's one of the ideas that's been spoken about.
All right. What about you this time? Um, Not this time. I mean, Fahrenheit. What did you make of the?
I can't I can't I can't really add anything. But yeah, like I imagine Chas was right. I can't you know I do want to add, since then, I have seen um, um, Love and Pop, and in that film, there's also some very dodgy um, um, CGI, and like and and compared to the Love and Pop CGI, these bullets are nothing basically. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, yeah. The whole movie looks good, Love and Pop, but then at the end they have this really shitty CGI. Uh,
Okay,
it doesn't last that long.
where where she's like
that's
levitating
enough.
and yeah, it's great. Yeah, I'd say the film is worth watching, like just for that scene at the end. Um, plus like plus like Anna wanting to show off his training set as well, so
Yeah, that
that was cool.
Love and Pop, by the way, is a live action series by Hideaki Anno, the creator of Evangelion. Um,
Okay.
and it's about what's the word for it? Enjokosai or something, compensated dating. Where like uh, it's basically kind of prostitution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is that one of those things, borderline prostitution, but it's not prostitution because Japanese laws are against prostitution. However, if there is sort of a non-monetary retribution, or it's not considered just for sexual relationships alone, it can be deemed as something else, and therefore it cannot be persecuted as prostitution.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
yeah.
like yeah, basically, in the film, these girls like pretend to be your girlfriend, yeah, like pretend to be
Yeah.
like people's girlfriends, and they get paid for it. In the film, this girl wants his ring, and then and then sort of like throughout the film, she realizes that the ring is not worth it at all, and and yeah, and she goes home again, basically. Um, it's an interesting film, but again, this is just one more um, film in the show of sleaze that we watch here on the channel.
Um,
Like,
yeah, I would say
Oh,
I would say though that like Love and Pop doesn't really try to be epic. Whereas
wow.
no, it isn't. It isn't. No. Yeah. Well, Love Exposure is like genuinely epic, though. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's got it's
again,
got
we're
it's got that
saying
going
it's
for it.
low key epic, but it's still epic. This
Yeah.
story
so
about these characters and their larger than life ideals.
one thing, just one thing, which you said last time, which you might still agree with. Uh,
What? Who?
yeah. So Thought Agent said that
Oh,
uh,
oh, him.
yeah, him. He said that
The guy.
this is an action
Wanker.
movie, but it feels but it feels more m- you, this feels more personal than an action than your usual action movie, let's say.
Well,
Um,
yes, because it's not an action film. I must have been like very tired when I was filming it last year.
Mhm.
No, this 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 is like a drama, right? It's sort of a drama with action elements
Yeah.
attached. Yeah, so like obviously it's going to be very personal. Again, I want to make that a connection with August in the Water because I don't know, I
I mean,
I like that film too. I feel like I think technically they're like the same genre, though August in the Water has
Well,
like more sci-fi elements.
I don't think they're really. What do you think, Yasu?
no.
And
No.
also
August in
Love
the
Exposure is
Water,
comedy. So
they both have
actually they're very different. I'm sorry. Uh,
Uh,
they both have some dramatic slash romantic elements, but August in the Water is more on the sci-fi side. It's kind of low-key sci-fi. whereas this one is more a pastiche. Love Exposure is a pastiche of genres that in some areas works, in other areas it's a little bit lacking.
Yeah, I think last time we kind of disagreed because I said it's a romantic comedy and you said it's more of a drama. Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd say it is like a dramatic romantic comedy. So
It
yeah,
just sometimes it fluctuates too much from one extreme to the other, so there is always this tonal
yeah,
line
yeah. The
backlash.
tone massively changes. You know,
so I think the reason why you made the connection with August in the Water is again because of another thing we mentioned in both the stream we did on Love Exposure and the one on August in the Water is that like there's some sorry, some not 80s nostalgia but some early 2000s nostalgia um
yeah.
going on here.
And August in the Water is a mid-90s film, right? If I remember correctly. Um, but yeah, as to be expected, not really much change between the 90s and the 2000s anywhere really. So yeah, you can still get the same nostalgia as you can from August in the Water, though. In my case, the year 2000, the year 2008 nostalgia is real, and the 90s is a fake nostalgia. There's a there's
Mhm.
there's a sort of difference, but it I think it definitely makes a difference because I can like remember 2008 and earlier, and so like I can make sense of what that time period meant in sort of a actual personal way. Whereas August in the Water, it's set during this sort of distant time, basically, that I just like I can't really properly grasp, right?
Yeah.
Not in like a direct way. So that that probably means that I I see August in the Water as more of like a mysterious film. Whereas Live Exposure is kind of like elucidated, basically.
Mhm.
It's a time period I like directly remember. Obviously it's not set in England, but like like I still like I can still like remember like what happened in the world sort of during that time vaguely. Where wherein I had like I have some idea rather than like basically no idea and just like secondhand um information sources. So I don't know.
See, I
I don't really know. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but
yeah. I mean,
basically, like what I'm trying to say is that blue exposure is never going to really have the same nostalgic effect on me
you mean
as
sorry, you mean
August in the Water.
yeah. You mean August?
Yeah,
August. So yeah, I mean, in my case, I can't remember anything from 2008 or earlier. So,
no,
maybe that's why I was kind of confused and lumped them together like that. Um, so,
yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, I for I I it's funny because I can like remember like what was going on when I was like 7, but I can't like remember like a single name from this film. So it's like
um,
it's pretty hopeless.
yeah. Another thing that you said was that um, the criminal gang that you is part of. I don't know. Criminal gang seems a bit too extreme, but you know his friends. Um,
Yeah,
Mhm.
his bros, his
um, that
his his pansy peeking pals. That's what it is, right?
right. And
His
that
his
that that it's
his
so
his pansy peeking posse. His panky is
yeah. It's too
anyway.
long. So anyway, um, Anyway, I think you said that it kind of reminded you of a lot of like casual
He's a
criminality.
voyeuristic vanguard. Yes, it did. It did. Yeah, like have you have you ever had like a friend who would just like I don't know, like casually steal from like a sandwich shop or something, or like something stupid. You know, it's very interesting because all of the petty crime I've seen um was done by friends, and also it was never for like something like really expensive, right? It was
Hmm.
always something like, oh, I'm gonna go and like steal a sandwich, or I'm gonna go and like steal this T-shirt or or something. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was actually like a very, very relatable. You know, I've got a funny story. I was in college, and one of my friends went in and stole a sandwich, and he was like gloating beforehand that oh look, it's like really easy to like to steal from them from like the shop in college. And he said like he said something like I basically do it every day now, which which was true as far as I could tell. Like every day he would basically like go in, steal a sandwich because he could basically he could afford it, but he chose instead to steal the sandwich.
Hmm.
But anyway, I watched him like leave the shop, looking like very proud of himself, and and then I overheard the serving staff talk about him, and they said, "Has he done it again?" And the other woman said, "Yeah,
Hmm.
he does. He he, he does it every day now." So and that was just like so funny, because it's interesting, right? Because like a sandwich is like it's like so insignificant, but but he felt like he was like doing something like naughty, but really like everyone was like letting him do it.
Just
That's like
because.
And like
total
everyone,
defeat.
yeah, it was about it was like so funny.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah,
So it's
so 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 it's like that's that's basically my experience with a petty crime. Yeah, like I sort of have like an idea of like why people do it, because oftentimes um there's like a reward in like, you know, in that sort of like boost you get from like stealing something over just like buying it with money, right?
Mhm.
It's like it's why you know like you feel this need to shoplift. I don't know like if you guys do, but there's like this thrill in it. Though I guess also if you're poor,
I
there's
get.
also like more
Mhm.
reason
I mean,
commit like these petty crimes too.
I,
Yeah, of
Uh,
course.
I mean,
Because.
I think it's something similar, I guess, with the people who take panty shots, because it's not like you can't like see it uh, in porn or whatever if you really wanted to see it. So
yeah,
why risk?
or
Yeah.
you, or you could just watch Love Exposure and see what the
Yes,
panty shots do.
exactly.
You
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 could just
can
watch Love
buy
Exposure instead. So why risk it? I, I I guess it's because like you want to feel like you're stealing something. I don't know, or something. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
um, yeah. Um,
but yeah, like I definitely felt like I was like I don't know. I felt I felt like those like characters his use friends of were like very believable. Obviously you like wouldn't go around with like with the tags still attached, you know, to your clothing, but
I mean,
uh, like um how they behave, and oftentimes like if you want to like get to like sort of like get to like to like get into their good books. Um, you like do also like you also have to like do something like a crime as well. And
Mhm.
and you does that right. He joins in firstly with the vending machine,
Mhm.
um, and secondly with obviously with the panty photographs, and and he turns it into a art. Uh, as I, I feel it's a shame because I've forgotten that slogan. It's like oblivious. I don't know. I can't remember it. but
Mhm.
but yeah, like it's just like a great like aspect of the film. Like he finds like his calling as a as a, as a panty photographer, and and like everyone like ends up like worshiping him pretty much, and he becomes like and he becomes the leader of like this petty crime gang, basically, but which is like pretty much true to life. Like if it's usually the individual who's the most brash, who's the most confident, and who's also like willing to commit like the most crime. Is like is generally the leader of these groups. So yeah,
Yeah. So with the guy that goes around with the tags, yeah, there's a I guess he has a one good line, I guess, where like I think it's after um he's kicked out by his father or something. Anyway,
Yeah,
Yu is running in the rain, and so the three that
and it's not in the rain; it's during the night.
during the night. Okay. No, no, wait. I think this scene was after Yu gets discovered for being a pervert, and he runs away. And like the guy with the with the tags gives him some. I can't remember whether his hat or something
The
to
jacket.
jacket, and he's like,
Mhm.
See, this one says 50% off. It'll reduce your sorrow by
Yeah,
50%, 50%
and they
less
all
sadness.
start to laugh.
yeah, 50% less sadness.
Mhm.
Uh,
A nice bonding moment.
yeah, yeah.
um, right. So, any other characters you would like to talk about?
Hmm, not really. I think we talked about most of them. The three guys work more or less as the only one that's said to be distinguished. Yeah, is the guy who talks about the tags and it. Um,
Yeah,
let me
I
see.
another good character was like Gino's like a surrogate mother who who ends up in the church and tries to get married to Yu's father. She has some great scenes, especially the scene where she gets him back.
Yeah,
Where she
Yeah,
like runs his car off the
yeah,
road.
we were talking about. It's
Yeah, it's great.
both surreal yet
And then
realistic.
yeah, and then like afterwards, she has like this like great line where she says like, "I raped him beautifully."
Yeah, we were talking about
Yeah, like
that.
that's
That's strange.
yeah, it's very strange, but like it also makes like perfect sense. Like
Yeah,
she like she
so
and
completely
and
insane.
yeah, like it definitely violated him during that scene. Especially his car as well.
Yeah.
yeah. I think what sold that scene to me is like at the end the priest reaction to it, like when it's based.
Yeah, like what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that but also after he gets knocked off, his car gets knocked over into the water, and you know, so but this time
Yeah,
he
like
doesn't
and
push. He doesn't push the woman away, and he's kind of happy. He looks happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
yeah, yeah. It was it's also quite funny because like during that scene, he's like he's like definitely like he's desperately trying to escape his car and like trying not to drown as well at, at the
Yep.
same time. So it's like you know you know when thank goodness I'm not dead,
Hmm.
but now I have this like another thing to worry about. But yeah, it's like a very good scene. Yeah, I just thought that was like worth bringing up. But you've already done that, and you've beat me to it. And I shouldn't have like I shouldn't have played with like with that child. But anyway, yeah,
yeah.
I can't really explain. I don't want to like I don't want to like give away like personal
Yeah. w-
information on a YouTube. But
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, like I was late for reasons.
right. One of the things you said last time was that this movie reminded you of your childhood.
Yes, yes.
How so?
I see. I do see like a lot of myself in you. Uh, not like not. I mean, well, you know, not that that's I was like impotent or dressed as like women, but you know, I can't really explain it. I guess. I think like all the stuff with like the school that was like very relatable. There's obvious differences, of course. I think also the music, especially the music, that was like very 2000s. Um, you know, and then like the phones as well, and then you know the landscape of the city just sort of in general, or maybe town. I don't really know like where they were. I've forgotten.
Tokyo.
It was it. Yeah, yeah. It just all felt like very like familiar weirdly. I don't know. I'm not going to explain myself properly.
Yeah. There's a video called visiting. I can't remember the exact um, name of the video, but basically it's somebody in 2020 um, before the coup going to visit the places where um, Love Exposure was filmed, and yeah, I mean, obviously, and I don't know, like, I don't know what I was expecting, but by watching that video, but yeah, it just looks exactly the same as in the film.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't really like that long ago, was it? So 2008.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because like he was like, oh look, like they have like now they have the like that they have removed that flag and changed the color. Then there's a small flag there. Look, that's different now, isn't it? Um, and but because it's like it's not like a tourist attraction or anything like that. Like the Japanese people, they are uh, walking there like, what's this weird foreigner who looks like he should have shaved himself yesterday uh, doing there. Um,
oh, that's so good. It's
yeah.
like did he like did he turn up to like the school as well?
I think
No.
no, the place where he turned up was where the quote unquote miracle happened. Um,
Mm,
you know, because
all right.
there's a countdown, of course, to the miracle. Basically,
Yes, there is.
where like they had that fight. Yeah, but you do get sometimes like for example, with Haruhi Suzumiya, like the school that it was that the school in Haruhi Suzumiya was based on, like they had to like high security and like be careful because like people
No.
who watch the anime wanted to fuck to break
Yeah, I
into
would
the school.
be.
Oh my
I would be.
gosh,
I,
that's
I
terrible.
mean, yeah, I would be careful. Like those guys are weird. Like the Harry Suzumiya crowd, um,
Yeah, I don't know,
very
like
shady.
I don't know, like what are they expecting other than like it's just a normal school? Like, are they expecting to meet Haruhi in there?
Yes,
Something.
they are. That's exactly what they're expecting.
Um, right. Yeah, that is sort of like a subgenre of like people going to places based on anime. And maybe movies too, of course.
No, of course, a little bit I can understand it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
When
it's true.
they
Like,
become when they become so obsessed that the places have to hire security and stuff like this, it becomes a little bit boring.
yeah, anyway, like I guess the difference was that it felt a lot less claustrophobic. Like I don't know, like maybe uh, like the characters never looked that distant. In the film I can't. Oh,
no.
it's except maybe that scene where like they are like at the beach, but then
Hmm.
you get that long scene where it's basically like a close up to Yoko's face
Hmm.
as she reads Corinthians. So I guess that sort of makes up.
Yeah, yeah. But there's like some like wide shots, but a lot of it is focused sort of with like extreme close-ups on the face, or just a or there's just like a direct focus on like a single character.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's like a lot of the film is that pretty much. Um, it is like very close.
Mm. So yeah, speaking of clothes and scenery and whatnot, I guess there's that. I think I'm not sure if it's the same beach where that's seen with the and it's not a really clean beach either. Like when they drive up there,
No,
no.
Hmm.
well, there's like a vacant, van there, isn't there? That he puts her in. Um, I'd say
Yeah.
it's not like it's been littered. It's just like it just it's not like pretty, is it?
Yeah, so
it's
it's
like
more like a
it's just like a
place
beat,
where
isn't it?
people go. You go there to spend the night
Yeah,
around the
Yeah,
car, camp, drinking a few beers, and then you just leave. That's it.
yeah, and like I'm not sure whether because like at some points like there are some like very short scenes where like they show the characters like with a huge cross, and sometimes they're
Yeah,
carrying it. Other times it's just standing there in the back, and I'm not sure whether it's the same beach or somewhere else. But
it
um,
looks a little bit similar. The color of the sand is very similar, but I'm not
yeah.
100% sure.
yeah,
It would make a lot of sense if they filmed those scenes sort of like back to back, like all those beach scenes. So like they filmed the scene with like the cross, and then
Hmm.
you know same location, same time, pretty much. They filmed like the kidnapping saga as
Yeah,
well.
could be.
Um,
um,
but
uh,
it could be anything.
yeah.
Would would I have to ask him? Um is he on Twitter? We must harass the director with this
Yeah,
question.
yeah. We should send him this live stream.
Oh my god.
Um, that's a short interview which he gives to English audiences, but he like he has an interpreter there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, well, as you're well aware, like this movie was originally 6 hours long, but
Mm.
I think that most of the extra footage, at least according to the director, he doesn't think he thinks that it's kind of damaged, so we'll never get to see it.
Shame.
Yeah. Um, if you have seen the post, by the way, the thumbnail for this video is going to be um, like it's basically the family, uh, like who are kind of trying to carry or hold the large white cross, which is obviously a
Okay, yeah,
yeah,
towards the end.
yeah, and
Yeah. Yeah.
in the post, yeah.
Did you see the did you see the screenshots I posted in the recording channel?
Now let's have a good look.
It was it was it was it's like voyeurism isn't a you
Uh,
know.
voyeurism is a delicate but not stylish crime, but it's neutralized by the character of you. Uh, okay.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? that's uh, that's that's from the behind the scenes, by the way. I just thought it was like such a great line because
Hmm,
it's also like it's also very true. Um, you does beautifully style out his voyeurism. So
hmm.
Yeah,
uh,
and it's the scene where like he
you know,
yeah.
yeah. Where like he's like diving down a cliff and they're taking like a photograph as he does it, and like I love like all like the fake like photograph sounds as well.
Yeah, it's kind of
like
cheesy in the
it,
right.
yeah, it is. But I am also noticed that later on when Yuko sort of nearing the end
Mm-hmm.
where she watches like a video that
Oh yeah.
you made
Mm-hmm.
where he gives like a tutorial on how to take these photographs. Um,
Yeah.
the camera you know I thought that was a very good touch. Like obviously, the director was very aware of. Yeah, it was yeah it's just like great like small touches like that
Uh,
that
Mm-hmm.
really do help out this film. But
uh,
yeah, that's just like a small thing.
by the way, I think that the scene that your screenshot comes from actually it's from like
And
when
electric car scene
yeah
um,
when
is
he's
was amazing.
when he's lying down and a bunch of schoolgirls
Yeah, exactly.
see that like he's picking up their
Their
skirts
skirts. Mm-hmm.
and they basically just kick him down. uh,
Yeah, and he
they,
rolls down the slope.
yeah, and that makes it even funnier. I think the quote there, like by the director,
Yeah.
like while Leo is getting kicked and rolled down um, down a slope, like he's talking about how it's a delicate but not stylish
Yeah.
crime, and it's neutralized by the character of you who is currently getting kicked. Uh,
Yep.
Oh man. Oh, yeah.
right. Koi here. Mm, I don't think um so the making of the making of Love Exposure, like a lot of his like the character of you doesn't really say much. And again it's funny because he basically sounds like l- l-
Yoko.
no, well, not that, but you know, because like he's talking about love and whatnot, when they ask him about the movie or whatever. Um,
Probably was
Yeah.
very confused.
but but he, most of that a lot of that documentary is centered on Yuko. In fact, I believe it starts with her or after. I think it's first the director and then her. Um, I don't know. Like, is there really that much to her character? Like, basically, like um she was nearly raped and bullied by her father, and now
Yeah.
um she's I don't know, mannish. She hates men, but she's a
Mm-hmm.
tomboy. Um, and she looks pretty. Um,
And
Yeah,
that's
mm,
and that's all you need, baby. No,
yeah.
I mean, I can, she was like quite a young character, so she doesn't necessarily need to be that deep. Um,
yeah, that I
yeah,
agree.
Mhm. Uh,
Even if it would have been interesting to make. Uh,
yeah. By the way, I think uh, I don't know if it was April. Let me check. Sono Sion, Me Too. Um, uh,
ouch! I don't like where this is going.
uh,
Ouch.
um, so yeah, it was April. Yeah. Um, so from the independent cult Japanese filmmaker Sion Sono accused of sexual uh, misconduct by two women um,
Ouch.
in in some in a magazine called Shukan Josei. Um, yeah,
well, I wasn't paying attention. Uh,
yeah, and apparently,
could you,
yeah,
are these Me Too allegations against the director or something?
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah, and
yeah.
apparently,
I'm not, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, to a degree, it's sort of like doesn't come as a surprise. I just wonder how truthful these accusations are.
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's
yeah,
true. Like
As per
he
you.
didn't he didn't like appear to me as like some like abuser or something. Like he just like in the behind the scenes. Okay, and this is my my character evaluation of him. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you would know it's going to be accurate. But he just like he just seemed like this like semi like autistic guy basically who wanted to just make a film. Uh, I don't know, like we'll see, I guess, or we won't see. Most of the time, like these accusations get thrown around,
yeah.
and they don't like,
Yeah.
and they don't like go anywhere, basically.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah,
as far as I'm aware, I think he has basically sued the magazine for defamation,
Mm.
and
yeah,
that's basically where it's at.
I see.
Yeah. Now, and again, I don't really trust accusations made by people.
Exactly. It's the
Uh,
usual. I'm not saying it's not true, but there have been a few cases where it's just like, of course, it's lazy men taking advantage of the situation, but these women consented and then later on, in a sense, regretted their decision and they were like, they did this, did that without my consent.
yes,
Even I think even that famous actress Brigitte Bardot spoke against this mentality. It was like if you behave this way, you want to be flirty, etc., just to get a good role, and then you regret it later on. Well, you took the decision. Of course, that person took advantage of you in a sense, but you gave the permission to do so because you wanted just to get a good a good role in a movie that was earn you money. Is I'm not condoning it, far from it. Of course, it's disgusting, but it's not just one sided oftentimes. That's the thing that worries me.
yeah. And I mean, I wouldn't go as far as the Britisher, if you remember him, Fahrenheit, who said that like he
Uh,
he basically thought that Harvey Weinstein was unfairly treated, essentially.
I
I,
see. I see.
I really didn't expect
What
that from him,
what
but yeah,
that's a, that's a that's a goblin of Hollywood. But,
Yeah.
well, from a citizen point of view, it's the it's the
It's
it's
the center. um,
it's the centrist evil.
um,
Uh,
It's still this exactly. It's still disgusting, but it's not like he took advantage of his position, but he didn't use it in a way like someone stalking someone in a.
yeah, like
Yeah. It's
I
still
just think it's best,
horrible.
like
Yeah.
I just think it's best like not to say anything about it until the situation is like clearer and like actually
Yeah.
yeah.
resolved.
I think what I dislike the most here in this particular case, but in also in many other cases, is that like it's a bunch of anonymous uh, accusations. It's like being accused by like people on 4chan or something, and like people,
Mm.
but people take it as true, um, isn't it?
Um,
um,
yeah, yeah, basically. Except I imagine 4chan users to be like more honest than actresses. So
Sometimes, yes, probably true.
um,
And with this, we are going to be arrested after the stream. I can't wait for Scotland Yard to burst through my window for this
th-
experience.
yeah, don't worry. This is too long. Nobody will listen to this far. Um,
Even the MI6 agents got bored or disgusted and
or,
they left.
or maybe they have already left and started watching Love Exposure. Uh,
yeah, exactly. Right.
They got curious, I see.
um, yeah.
Sort of like what 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 uh, what are your guys' score anyway? What do you score the film? I've already said a 8 out of 10.
So for me,
I like this
I
film.
don't know. I'll leave it without a score because it's a movie that's difficult to evaluate. I see a lot of potential. If this was made into a TV series, it would be probably a 7.5, 8 out of 10. As a movie, I don't know what to say, honestly. It's all over the
Mm,
place. There are things that for me are a solid 8, and other things that really I would impulsively give it a 5 out of 10 in other areas. But I also see a great deal of ideas and character and uh, interesting plot points in it. So it's
yeah,
difficult to give like um, one fits it all score. That's why I would leave it
yeah,
without vote. It's more like it's something that I think it's interesting, it's worth watching, and I really hope that Sono will be able to turn this into a real proper TV series, like with 10, maybe 12 chapters, exploring certain aspects of this world and a bit more in depth.
Mm. So the film did receive some awards. Yeah, but that doesn't really mean anything because I don't really care about awards still. It did. And for people who care about that, I guess. Um, what do I score this film? Mm, I mean, last time I said 8 out of 10, and Fahrenheit also said 8 out of 10 this time. Um, how can I be a contrarian about this?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
um, um, is it still an 8? Um,
yes.
an 8 or a 9? Yeah, an 8 or a 9. Um,
Okay, I'm putting you down for a 8.5. I'm yes, a Chesbo. I'm gonna put you down for an 8, by the way. So okay, so moving on. Um,
moving on. I guess who is best girl? I mean, you could do it for this. It's basically an anime, so Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I'd say. Well, I mean,
there's no that much competition, is there? Yeah.
you
no, not
could
really.
you
Uh,
could make the case for me Scorpion, but
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You could.
that's been
Uh, no. Oh yeah. I would say yeah, Yuko. Yuko is best girl. Like mostly because her like problems aren't like as extreme as the other girls basically.
she's she's
Uh,
tsundere enough, but not so completely.
I thought you would go for the older woman as usual, but I guess not. Uh,
no, like she's I mean like a there's like a fine balance with older women. You have to understand. Um,
it's
yeah,
like
she
being
like
a
she
virgin, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly right. Okay, yeah. So yeah, best girl.
no,
Any yeah,
Yuko,
any yeah,
there's
any
nobody called
yeah.
Yuko.
What
Yeah, Yoko is probably best.
Um,
I get yes, a Yoko. That's exactly what I said.
Yoko, I
Okay,
think.
okay. So so the Church of the Good Students officially
Hmm.
officially verifies this ruling.
Yes, we do. Um,
Okay.
um,
It's
yeah.
been declared.
So another criticism which came up last time was that like the Zero Church was like a shit villain. It came out of nowhere. Um,
No, it was forward enough. There is a little bit of foreshadowing because at the beginning we talk about it. Then it comes back when Koike is reintroduced, and then it grows into the. You can see the manipulation going on through her that leads to this zero church cult being the sort of entity pulling the strings. So I think it was pulled out rather well.
mm,
It's not flawless, but
I,
compared to other aspects of the movie, the pacing for this one was done well. It was
I
always in the background.
yeah. I guess I just didn't like the uh I guess the leader of the cult. I expected it to be like somebody more charismatic and for his
I don't
face.
know. It felt I kind of liked it because it was sort of generic enough, but with that weirdness because of his looks. It reminds me a little bit of the leader of the Unitarian Church in Dead Space that appears only in the third game. He has that same kind of Elton John vibe to his.
Yeah,
It's
that's
true.
true. Yeah.
It
It's like
does, yeah.
it's Japanese Elton John with an evil cult behind him.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
yeah. Also
ima-
like when when he got like stabbed like through his like turtleneck,
Yeah,
that was like, hilarious too.
it's kind of
Uh,
hilarious how much blood is losing. Like, and it's also I
yeah,
was saying kind of cathartic. Like you wish for the guy to die of a brutal death
yeah,
because he's kind of a prick to you. So
yeah,
when he starts like, yes, yes, let the blood flow, let
yeah.
the
And
blood flow. Yeah.
imagine, yeah, imagine Japanese Elton
yes,
John's trying
do
to,
it, make them suffer.
yeah, right.
I felt it was a good balance. That's something I really enjoyed. I hope the only thing I would have loved for the fight scene in the Zero Church to go a bit longer. Eh,
Hmm.
luckily, we saw a little bit of a fight.
Yeah. Also, like, what was going on in that building? Like, it looked like they were all drugged or
Yeah,
something.
there were
Yeah,
some
yeah,
weird things going on.
Like,
Um,
yeah. There was
but this is
yeah, that
honestly
was like his
something that's
a
very common trope in I saw in other Japanese media of like everything looks normal and then you get inside the building and all kind of weird things go on. But not only Japanese media, it's a common trope of uh, the outside glitters and the beautiful look of the building, and inside there is something twisted going on, low key twisted, like you don't see body horror but just weird things, and it's something that I appreciate. Gives you makes you wonder what's really going on, and at the same time makes you think these people are trapped in a sense because they wish to be trapped, and they are in this state because of their own decisions, like they brought this upon themselves. It's sad, but at the same time you feel like more pity than despair for these people.
What do you think about it, Fahrenheit?
I was just going to point out a particular segment. So when you is running through this sort of like
Hmm.
section, it's it's darker. There's lots of these people sort of in like a trance doing these like very peculiar things. But there's like this very like interesting segments where like there's a glass screen.
Oh
So
yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
I
and like there's
understand.
like the father on like one side and the rest of the family on the other, and they're like acting out like
They are in prison,
visiting
yeah, but
him. Yeah, like yeah, they're acting out,
hmm
you know, visiting him in prison, right? But
and yet they can. There
if
is
you
no wall.
exactly, but like sort of at the same time, like they could like just walk around and
Hmm.
and just talk to him like normally.
Yeah,
I think that's like a like greater metaphorical
yeah.
shot for the situation you described, Sir Chesmo.
Hmm.
Wherein like it's like self-imposed, where like the path out is like so obvious, but
At the
like
same time, they are
you know
blinded by their own resignation in a sort of way to the fact that, well, I'm on this side, you're on that side, and there's nothing we can do, and they cannot accept the reality that they can just walk around.
Like,
Reminds
yeah.
me a little bit of Kafka in this regard, with this kind of impending doom that it's actually really avoidable. It's just we cannot see the solution because we are blinded by ourselves. It's like there is that famous short story. How it's called? Uh, the the trial, where there is this person waiting for a trial, and he waits to be called behind this door, and then at one point there is this guy saying, "You fool! You could always have walked through this door. You just didn't do it." It's the same kind of. I know the story. It's way more interesting. I'm paraphrasing it very quickly, but it's the same kind of concept. Like that, sometimes we doom ourselves because we refuse to take the right action at the right time. And for these people in this cult, is the same thing.
like it kind of uh, uh, like their hair, like they were all in white, and this time without the O for the, sorry, not the O, the zero for the zero church. And their hair like all looked um gray, and like it was in a net.
Hmm.
It was like their life force was being sucked out, or something.
Mhm.
um like it was sort of like a hospital, I guess.
Yeah, I felt like um, yeah,
Very
like an isolation ward or something like this.
like a some kind of like sexless, hygienic, smiling
Hmm.
world. Or at least no, maybe that's more like what it looks like when you joins after he joins the Zero Church. After they threaten to cut his dick off. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, that happened. Um, right.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the actual genital mutilation scene that happens earlier. But yeah, let's leave it as a
Oh yeah.
surprise.
That's a surprise for the people who wanted to watch it, I guess.
Mhm.
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, yeah. Um, I I don't know.
Mm.
Like now that you have mentioned it, it's hard not to talk about. Uh,
Yeah, I'm just replaying that scene in my mind again. Um,
yeah.
It's like the Great Lebowski,
yeah,
but
man,
Back to
like
the Future.
it was it was like a fountain.
Yeah, again, it's this absurdity. Like that's why it reminds me a little bit of Quentin Tarantino, where is the amount of blood is like
Oh,
something out of control.
also, I have a question. I'm not a doctor or anything, so but I don't think
No,
it's possible to have a hard on while being paralyzed.
I think it's
well,
possible actually. For sorry to bring this up, but there have been many cases of even people who are dead for a few hours who have erection. I remember in Romania a few years ago, a lady was arrested because they found out she had sexual intercourse with a corpse and she got pregnant from that. So, yeah, it's possible for someone in a coma to get an erection.
Um,
It's
l-
not possible for them to. I don't know about the snoring. It felt more like he was asleep rather than in a coma.
I guess life is stranger than love exposure.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
yeah, so like in the film, um, uh, Anko, is that is that her name? Have I remembered it correctly?
no, that's
Probably not. But
Yoko.
no.
Anko is from Onizuka. Come on. But same
Oh
personality, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. I guess.
Same
Oh,
personality,
for
I
fuck's
guess.
sake! Like these like hundreds of like similar sounding Japanese names like really screw me over. I've always like complained about this. If there's one theme of the past year, it's been me like complaining about like forgetting Japanese people's names. Uh, uh,
Uh,
uh, so Bird's Girl, her father suffers like a brain tumor, or stroke, and yeah, like he passes out, but yeah, like he still has a erection. So what she decides to do is basically like cut it off pretty much. But before that, I think she like bends it and like breaks it like with her like bare hands as well, like, and that is like so,
and
yeah.
weirdly enough, that's actually accurate. You can technically break uh, an erect penis. It can happen.
Yeah,
It's what
that's
I
true.
heard. It's
I guess
incredibly.
I guess I guess because the muscle would be like hardened, and then you just have like sprain the muscle. Um, yeah.
No, no, it's not
So
just spraining. You can literally break your if you're not careful enough. And from what I heard, it's one of the most painful, uh, one of the most painful things that can happen to a man.
yeah. So anyway, like after she bends the bone of his sword, she then decides to get some scissors, I think, and and then she cuts off. Yeah, and then she basically like she cuts it off. And yeah, and that's how she like gets revenge for the
Hmm.
abuses
Was that a Fate
he
reference?
caused her. Yes, it was. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, like and this and the way she gets away with it is basically acting like a innocent girl, and that's the character
Yeah.
trait that she takes, and she sort of takes advantage of through the entire movie basically. Where on the one hand she's quite this vicious person, and she's like tormenting you, but on the other hand, she can like act like this like cute girl
But
to like adults
Yeah.
and
didn't
things.
didn't she also kill a bunch of her classmates and the boy who confessed
Um,
to her because
Mhm.
uh yeah because I don't know because her father told her that it was a sin or whatever. Didn't that happen? Or am I imagining it?
I man, I think that might be like a different storyline
Yeah.
because there is like because like during the bullet scene with a Yuko or or a Yoko Ono,
Yoko
there
Ono.
is a
Okay.
there is like that scene where like that girl fill a classroom yeah like it's a long and a complex film. Okay, so I may I may not be right remembering certain elements correctly, but I think that's what happens.
Yeah, I guess the point of that scene, I think there's two separate scenes, but maybe you're right that it's the same scene. But because I remember like, because like she's the bird girl. No, no, I can't remember her name. Aya. Uh, is, is
Oh
Mhm.
is
yeah,
it's contagious.
Her surname is Aya.
Koike,
Her
right?
name. Mhm.
Yeah. She's one of the characters that gets to narrate a little bit about her um, happy life. Um, I remember that she basically gets sent away for a while to a place to reform her, and it's when she comes back that she finds her father paralyzed with an erection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so true.
Um. Yeah. As for the other scene where like so there's this news bulletin going on while um what's her name, Yoko, right? Yoko and
Mhm.
the wife, the mother, the wife,
Mhm.
I can't remember the name.
yes, we
You know what I
yeah,
mean.
Mhm.
it's
The
fine.
older woman. There you
Yes,
Yeah,
go.
we do.
Kaori. She.
Kaori. Yeah, there you go, Kaori. And there's a news bulletin going on, and like that's when she about some girl killing everyone again for unknown motives.
Mhm.
Um, and that's the scene where like she sees the she sees the invisible CGI CGI
Bullet.
bullets
Yeah.
that swarming around us at this moment. um, right. Um, okay. I was wondering whether we could drag this along to the film's runtime. Uh,
4 hours.
we are at 3:37. Um,
Wow.
so
I have to piss off now. So I'll,
all right, all right.
it was a good talking, right?
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, it was. I'm glad that I did get to attend some of this seminar. But uh, yeah, like I definitely discovered more about the film on the second viewing, right? Um, so yeah, I've given my hot takes, and also I do I again want to emphasize or re-emphasize that Fort Agent is not to be trusted. He is a CIA
Mhm.
agent. He's a plant in the Diet SOS Brigade community, and you should hunt down and destroy this man. He is also lame as well, and Fahrenheit is like the better. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.
one
Next
last
week.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we doing next week anyway?
Next week, I'm having a brain. Okay. Next week. Next Tuesday, it's going to be that book. What's it called again?
Oh yes, the beautiful.
Beautiful fighting girl.
Yeah, fight.
However,
Okay.
next maybe we should move it to next Monday, and I'll tell you later why.
Okay, I'll tell.
Okay.
I'll ask Osaka as well. Yeah, Osaka syndrome is
That's
going
fine.
to be the one of the
Okay.
Denpa people. So the last question
I
was
see. I see. We can we can make fun of him. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. So
the last question was so other than ourselves, who would you recommend this film for? Fahrenheit.
this film is for everyone. I would recommend you watch it. Very specifically with as many family members as you can get hold of. Preferably the older the family member, the better. It'll be a very comfortable viewing experience for everyone involved. Uh,
I see.
yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, yeah. Much better than Torrejo and Steak last time. Um, I
Exactly. Yes, yes. Thank you.
all right
All
then.
right, I'll leave now. I will leave you now, and my to I don't want to subject you guys to my schizophrenia any longer. So I'll go now. Right.
All right. Okay. So that was Fahrenheit. What did you make of his take on love exposure?
I think it was right on many things. I kind of agree with him,
Mm.
many aspects.
All right. Uh, um. So yeah. Um. Hopefully you enjoy this movie at least a little bit. Given that it was 4 hours of your life that you're not going to get back. And
It wasn't bad. I'm just mostly disappointed. That's the thing.
I see. And so I'm going to send this stream to Paz or Artificial Night Sky, who is the guy
Mhm.
who recommended us this movie, along with a couple of others. I had him on one of our streams, but I've been unable to get him on again. Hopefully, I might be able to get him on while you're on as well.
It would be nice once to talk to him.
Yeah, and with that said, thank you for listening. That was Love Exposure.